signifies I'm one hell of a guy. I'm the one that televised, still telling me lies. Brung flowers for the dead when I said my goodbyes, and wrote a letter to the better, y'all can never deny. Terrorized with them guys, then I severed the ties. Realized that them niggas wasn't ready to ride. Me, I still abide by the respect and the pride. Reppin' and wise, top 5, dead or alive. I'm a certified gangster, word of my grandpa. The real Scarface that fertilized Frank up. Play with my bank, I'll blow your whole camp up. Bust shots till my fucking hands cramp up. So stand clear and prepare, this a grand premiere. They all amp cause the champ is here. With a brand new swagger for the fans to cheer. Cuban Link chain hanging like a chandelier. Still a crook, still off the books this year. I got them shook like they about to get whooped in here. I make it look like a 9-chef cook this year. Bling pun, bring the beat, now they put me here. Go.
Cheat, salute. You already know what it is. Favorite sort of Rican GQdaembassy. Alongside.
Whoop, your boy Cuban Link. 24 carats, you know how it be.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Welcome to episode 2 of Off the Books podcast. You already know. Hope everybody's having a great, weekend and all that stuff. You see Cuban's supercharged. You know what I'm saying?
I had to get supercharged.
Yeah, that.
You know what I'm saying? We got a special guest here, man.
Hold on, you gotta set the, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just trying to tell you, I'm getting supercharged. It's not super, it's chupa.
It's supercharged.
Supercharged. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy. It's another episode.
Yeah, man.
Off the books.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Now, listen, everyone that's tuned in, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, also hit the notifications. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Off the Books Podcast and everything else social media. So anyway, without any more further ado, this man right here is a legend. He comes back from the days of the elements, maybe even before. We're gonna find out
the creation days.
You
know. I mean, around the time. I'm going to find out. You know, I got to do my
well, you do your own due diligence.
You know what I'm saying? According to, compared to this special guest here, I am a
connoisseur.
A baby boomer.
A connoisseur.
Later on in life, you know what I'm saying? So, he's the one of those that, opened the doors for us as far as me being a hip-hop.
Yeah, of course. He has been inspirational to many other Latino brothers and sisters in the music industry, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Melo-Man Ace, you
told me about it. See, I knew about this brother because you told me about him. I didn't even know.
And I know of
I didn't even know. I swear to God. No disrespect, but
I know of Mr. Schick from doing research on Melo and also do Earl and Thurston Howell III.
Okay.
That's how I got in. So anyway, without any more further ado, we appreciate... before we start, make sure everyone tunes in to Mixcloud. Go to Throwback Champ and... get all the fly mixes. So make sure you, like I said, go to Mixcloud and search Throwback Champ. That's my guy. You already know. So now, this man, like I said, without any more further ado, is legendary for the Latino culture and also for the inspiration of the birth of hip-hop during those beginning times that we are still debating till this day. But nonetheless, we still rejoice and say, thank Jesus for hip-hop. This man comes from a group that was called the Mean Machine. They had the mega hit called The Disco Dream, and he started the revolution without even realizing that the revolution was already being televised.
It's a revolution.
So without any more further ado, Mr. Schick, my guy.
Mr. Schick.
You already...
Thank you, man, for having
What's
me
up,
on
Big
the
Daddy?
show.
How you doing, my brother?
Doing good, man. Hopefully you guys are doing good too.
We surviving, trying to live.
That's it.
Because we.
Yeah, like all of us, man.
That's the thing about hip hop, man. It's about really, making nothing from. Actually taking nothing and making it something.
Facts.
So that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, I think that's definitely one of the qualities that hip hop always had, and that's why it's been so incredible. You know what I'm saying? It was originated from the streets. It was originated from the youth that was rebellious. You know what I'm saying? Against everything. Against our parents, against our government. It was just some just youths in the streets that made a lot of things happen. And the whole question these days are about the actual fact of the creation of it.
The origins.
Yeah, the origins of it. And I know that you was part of the origins, and I heard your interviews before when you was doing your thing. as far as like you got into the graffiti, you was part of the graffiti thing first.
Yeah, I was part of the graffiti since 71. Okay, 71 to 81. And so when I became a rapper, I was still doing graffiti, but I had to slow it down because then you start touring and all that stuff, you know. So I was a graffiti writer for 10 years. Rapping was
So
not even in my
tell us about
scope.
the graffiti part, because we always like, when not my generation, when I came in, like all those elements were together, like the break dance, you know.
Yeah, well, not, you know, hip hop wasn't even a thing yet, you
But in
know.
your world, right? In your
And
world, was it a thing
so
or was it happening and you was doing?
no, I was in New York
Okay.
before it happened. You know, I was raised in New York. I was only in Puerto Rico for third, fourth, and fifth grade. The rest of my life and my youth
Well, you was born in
was
Puerto
in the
Rico.
Bronx. You know, no, I was actually born in the
Okay.
Bronx, and then my parents
Where in the
moved
Bronx?
to Puerto Rico, back to Puerto, and
So
well, I
where's
lived all
born?
over the place. I lived between
What
what
hospital?
part
What
of the
hospital was you
Bronx?
born in?
I was Bronx Hospital, and I was in. I lived in the
Okay,
Claremont
right
and
there.
Park
Okay, so
Avenue,
that's
Washington.
yep.
You know,
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why I
169th
got stitched
Street,
up.
170.
I really got
You
stitched
know,
up right there. I swear to God. When I got
hey,
Wow.
so that was my early youth. That was my early. Then I moved like on the 6th train, Elder Avenue, and I was in the one of the corners that I lived on was Elder and like Bronx
yeah,
River.
yeah.
So I was like a
That's
block
the
away from
Soundview. That's the
Bronx
Soundview
River
area.
projects.
Catherine.
You know, yeah, but it was
Yo
before
sé dónde
Soundview,
ahí,
you know.
por Washington Avenue y todo eso.
Yeah, so
Ajá.
I lived on Elder Avenue around the corner from James Monroe High School. So I was like one block away from Bronx River where all those cats came from. You know, a lot of the Bronx River cats, Soul Sonic Force,
Okay.
you know, Africa Bambaataa. In fact, one of the guys in our group was from Bronx River too. He lived like the building next to Soul Sonic.
So,
Mr.
so
Biggs
what
from Soul
year?
Sonic
What
Force.
year was that he lived over there? That yeah, who
Who?
he lived over
Jimmy?
there in Bronx River?
Yeah, he lived over there in Bronx River. I
Uh-huh.
don't know when they moved because I met Jimmy like in
Okay,
77,
all right,
78. You know, so but by that time I was already living in Grand Avenue,
Oh,
183rd, Jerome, you know,
right,
that
right.
yeah,
area,
that's
Fordham
like
Road.
yep, that's the middle
I was
Bronx, Park Avenue, you know, Grand Avenue, all of that. You know, yeah,
so I was living there by Fordham Road, you know,
Oh yeah, oh
Davidson,
yeah. I
183rd,
lived right there on
all that
Grand Ave in
area.
Fordham.
And yeah, so I lived on Grand Avenue and between, I want to say, since it's been about 40 years, but I think it was Evelyn Place and Grand, but it was like 2 blocks away from
Yeah, you were
Fordham,
down.
maybe.
It's funny because I lived on Grand Ave in Fordham at one time. So that's wild. I mean, I
Yeah,
wasn't there
man.
during your time, but nonetheless, at
So,
least you know what I'm saying.
did you let
yeah,
me start off also by saying, man, my respects, my love, my admiration, my thanks. You know what I'm saying, for guys like
Gratitude. Yeah.
you know, especially, you know, you Boricua. You know, I'm Cuban. I'm straight off the boat. I'm like Colombian.
yeah,
But
yeah. No, the thing is, I got Cuban cousins,
yeah,
you know,
you know
they're
that
half Puerto
relationship
Rican,
always
half
been there
Cuban.
from the flag, the different
Yeah,
colors and the same flag. So it's always been there. So I
yeah,
know that. But you know, me as a real immigrant from 1980 and Mariel. So you know, you probably heard about it. I was in Miami taking that boat from Mariel to Miami, like the Scarface movie for real.
Jimmy
Like
Carter.
I came in that boat when I was
yeah,
5 years old. So I'm an immigrant for real. You know what I'm saying? So when I came here, you know, I had
yeah,
the language barrier, of course, and all of that. And I came to the Bronx when like you could still smell the smoke of the buildings burning. You know what I'm saying? Like from 80,
oh
I came in
yeah,
84. So, you know, say 84 was already like, you know, still the buildings was burned down, but like hip hop took a whole type of energy. Like crack was getting introduced.
Yeah.
So a lot of bad things was happening, but where we from, that was just living. That was just, you know what I'm saying, us looking
Yeah.
at the culture and
No,
everything being
and
molded. So how, I want to know about that part.
well, well, okay, well, growing up, I lived in the Bronx
Yes.
before all the burning. Then, I lived through all that burning and the gangs and all that stuff, so I seen all that. Um, and so that was, sometimes people want you to explain, like, how was it like, and what I got to say is sometimes there's certain things that can't be explained, only
Exactly. I
experienced.
know.
You know what I mean? Because, like, words cannot truly paint the picture of those experiences, And because when you say gangs, like today's gangs are different from the gangs back then. So if you're talking to a younger cat, when you start talking about gangs, they're thinking about the way the gangs are today, not like the way the gangs were back then. So it's totally different because it's a different
Would you say
time,
if you go back in time, the only maybe images of a gang type New York City,
with the cutout vest and all that.
would you say if you were related to like the movie Warriors?
Yeah.
Well, that's a little
Something like
glorified,
that.
but yeah, you know, you had the guys with the
Yeah.
jeans, the
Oh no,
cutout,
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there with the
cut
Warrior style.
sleeves,
we've been there. But as far
with
as like the different sections, like
yeah.
they would take like different sets. That would
Oh no, yeah, like I knew where I could walk and where I couldn't walk, even though I wasn't from a gang. But some of the guys in my family, some of my cousins and stuff, they were involved in it, but I wasn't. So because I wasn't, man, growing up in school, I was always small, because my birthday's in
mine
December.
too.
So
I'm the same age.
so check it out.
What's your birthday?
Now
Cojones, I'm
December
December
11th.
18th, baby Sagittarius. You know how we do
So
it.
yeah. So check it out, right? Like now, if you're born in December, they hold you back. You can't
Exactly.
start kindergarten
Yep.
or first grade, whatever. But back then they didn't. So when I was in school, even though I was going to turn 5 that year, I was in kindergarten at 4.5. So go all the way through school. I was always one of the smallest cats in the class, and then I was skinny. So I was smart. I was kind of like, I knew that because of my body, the way I was, slim little guy, um, I made friends with like a lot
Yeah.
of the tougher guys, a lot of the bigger guys, because I knew that, nobody was going to mess with me because este está con
Sí,
fulano
okay.
de tal, and so I knew that. And so, it worked out for me, I never had to
But
join a
what
gang or nothing.
when was like? Because I know you said you was into the graffiti part of hip hop, the element.
Yeah.
How was that life? Like how you got into that part? As far as like, what year?
Well, okay. It's when I started seeing some of these names in the streets, like maybe 69, I started seeing same names
where
over
in
and
the
over all
trains
over the
and trains and
streets,
walls?
and in the streets on walls. But then I started seeing them in the train, like the
Okay.
Third Avenue L, and so I'm like, yo, man, how the heck? I see this guy over here, then I see him in another side of the Bronx. I'm going to Manhattan, I see his name. When does he have time to do this? And I started getting curious. And then I'm like, yo, I got to do this, man.
And what you loved
And
about
so
it though, as
then,
far as like the
because it was like the same curiosity I had, like, how does he do this? His name is everywhere, but nobody ever sees him. So I
but
said,
it was
I want to be
the
like that. I
fame of it,
want to
like
do that.
the part of that you could see your name or the actual
Well,
craft of
Or
the lettering.
or what you do at the
no,
time.
no. Back then there
Oh,
was
so it
no
was just tag
fancy
ups. It was just
letters. You
straight
know
up
what I
like
mean?
So
This it tagged.
it was
It
no
was just
style.
tags, man, and they might have been fat tags, like
The
with
bubble,
done with fat caps,
the
and they
bubble
might
letters.
have an
Yeah.
outline, but it was no, it wasn't even bubble letters yet.
that's how
Because
early
they
the stage it was.
You're
because
crazy.
That was
listen,
before they had the
This
back
categories of the
then,
lettering.
listen, Hey, listen, back then, you know, you would go to the supermarket and steal the oven cleaner, your foam oven cleaner, steal the spray caps off of them. And then that you put
Wow.
it on a spray can, and instead of spraying skinny little lines, it widened the line,
He was down with the
to about 3 or
creation,
Yeah.
4
the
inches wide.
creation of
Yes.
the
So
fucking spraying, the
Yes.
spray, how much it sprays the.
What they
so
use
So
to
that's
take
before
off,
the actual, after they got all of that modeling part, and they could, do different things because they got the different tools to
Right.
do it.
Nah.
So he was actually
They had to
inventing
Right.
yeah.
So
the caps.
Wow, that's
That was
crazy.
dope. That was dope.
hey, so then the fat cap, it was easy because then you could write your name fatter and it was more noticeable from a distance. So it was Jafome oven cleaner and the Niagara starch spray. Those
And I'm
would
sure
spray
that
it
later
fat,
on they made a little
and
Right.
wide.
device
That they
that
do
you
all of
took
it.
from the oven cleaner, and they made a little device to open up the hole in the spray can a little wider
Certain
and
way.
made money off that device. That's great.
No, yeah. No. Then sometimes you would take the regular spray paint can and take a needle that was a little fatter than the hole and kind of stick it in there to make the hole bigger so it'll spray, wider too.
But that
We
brought the
also
style.
did
That brought
that.
the different, like kind of, what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
details
So
inside the tag.
so so anyway, let me go back. I wanted to start writing, and when I did, I said, "Yo," I went into the corner store of Elder Avenue and Westchester. There was a little corner store that I went in there and I started looking for a name. And I'm looking there, looking. And then I see a Schick razor blade box.
Let's get it right,
And I
guys.
said,
Schick. Remember
I
Schick?
said,
That's right.
One of the first blades
yeah.
to
So
get
I,
your shave on.
so I said, that's the name I'm going to use. And then from then on, I started using that to write. And then, you start writing all over the street. And I was at James Monroe first I was in junior high school 123.
Where was that at?
And uh, that was, shoot,
23
I
was
don't
out there.
remember because it's been a long time. But anybody
But it
that
was
went,
Mauritiana.
that lived
Yeah,
around
okay, Townville. Okay,
Soundview
okay.
and all that area, we all went to that. We all went to that school because there was a lot of hip hop jams too later on there, and in Monroe High School too. But then by the time I was in James Monroe High School, I had already started painting trains because you meet a few people. Yo, you write? What you write? That's how it was back then. Like you meet somebody, yo, you write?
Was
Yeah,
there?
what you write? Oh yeah, I seen your tags, right? And then it's like, then they invite you to what they call the layups. And it's like where they park the train
Oh,
in the
okay.
middle of the track, at night. So then it's like, yeah, man. So then
Now
you
I'm
learn
picturing
from
certain scenes
somebody
of
else,
Wild Style.
Well, that's dope.
So now,
I'm just saying
you
what
jump
just
on the
described.
tracks with
There's
your
always
paint.
in
That's
those movies.
before though.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah. So then you learn and you start jumping the tracks and painting your
Tell me
trains,
tell us
man.
a story.
And
Tell us a story
it's
of the old, jumping the tracks and you taking your first train, by the electrical horns and you doing your thing. Like as far as like tagging up your first name, like take us to a story if you have one.
well, I'll give you one. It's not my first time, but it's
There
the
you
first
go.
time
Oh,
I got
That makes
caught.
sense.
that's good.
All right.
That makes sense.
So I never really got caught for years. But then one day, and I always went sober to whether it was a train
Right.
yard or a layup or a tunnel where they kept
And what
them.
year?
Always
I
went
mean, how old
sober
was you?
because oh man, this was in
Yeah, but
the
you was
like,
like 13, maybe.
oh, okay, no, when I got caught, it was like in, I think,
Wow.
75.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I wasn't even
75.
born yet.
Okay,
You was
so
there.
I'm 74 now. Yeah,
so
I was in Cuba. I was in
okay,
Oh,
Cuba.
you was a Cuban.
so
There you go.
Yeah.
hey, so I never got high or anything whenever I went to do that, And so that day we were all getting high and hanging out or whatever. Then everybody decides, let's go painting. And I'm like, man, I never done it high before. Because you don't want to run on the tracks on the elevated
Nah,
trains.
no,
Y
no.
te
You
cae
scared
por
out.
ahí.
You
Then
scared
you're
out.
in the
Yeah, you scared.
streets. You know, you land
And you
in
used
the
to do it by
streets, and
bunches. Like it wasn't you
so
by yourself. It was a crew.
yeah. No, it was about 6 or 7 of us. So we went and we started painting. All of a sudden, man, about a half hour into our painting, we hear the
Oh,
cops. And they're, no, not like that. They're inside
oh,
the train because they
Oh
start
shit.
walking. They sometimes they hide in there waiting for you when they know, because they're
Yeah.
snitches. There's people that snitch, and sometimes they wait for you. But anyway, they're there and they come out, man, and we're all in the tracks, and they're running, and they were so close to us, and everybody ran.
bumping
and
into each other.
and I thought to myself, you know what? Since I was high, I just froze, and I said, I'm not going to die
Wait, wait,
here.
wait, wait. Let's get back to the before high. You say you didn't go over there high because you was kind of
Right?
on point.
I never went high because I
Oh,
knew
so
if you got
this
Like
time.
this
this time when he was there,
this
he got
time,
high.
Oh
because
Yeah,
my God.
see, this time it wasn't planned
broke,
to go
you
there.
broke
It
protocol.
So
was
what drug was the choice over there at that
no,
time?
that day we just smoked pot that day.
So you
Okay,
was.
There you
I told
go.
him that
Now
shit
here
burns
we
your
so
brain
go.
cells.
Here we
so
It
go.
burns your brain cells. So you was off already. You was
Oh
off
man.
the
so
grid. Yeah.
so then, it wasn't planned. Once everybody was high, they're like, "Yo, let's go paint." So then, I didn't want to be the only one going, "Nah, man, I'm not going." So I went, and when we started painting, after a while, the cops came and they started chasing us. Some of the guys went, and they'll slide down the pole and end up in the
Yeah.
street.
Hey yo.
But for me, I was like, yo, I'm not gonna die. I just let them catch me, and
Yeah.
they caught me. I was busted that day, and that was it. But back
You
then,
had to be like 13, right? Like 13, 14.
no, because I was a little older. I
Older,
was
okay.
still a teen, but
So they had to process you.
I'm just guessing. I may have been 17 or something like that. I can't remember the age. I may be wrong by a year or two,
No, you was in
Yeah.
your teens, definitely in your teens, but
but
you were still in high school
uh,
or in
no, no,
elementary.
no, no. I think I got out of high school already.
Oh, so you was out
You
already.
Oh
know,
wow.
Oh,
either that
okay.
was my last year or I got out. I think I got out because I want to say I think I got out I thought it was 74, but I may be wrong. It could be 75.
That's where I was born.
Hey,
It's seven.
so I got busted. They took me down to the station, and they book you, and then they released me on my own
Okay.
recognizance.
They didn't even
Yeah.
call your parents.
No, they didn't call my
All right.
parents.
Oh, so that was kind of cool back
Wow.
then. Oh, it
No,
gotta be
no,
cool.
they didn't
Just to
call.
the
You know what? They didn't call your parents unless your parents had to come and pick you up. If you were like 15 and under, they call your
okay.
parents. If you were 16 and up, then they charge you like an adult.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's what it
Damn.
is.
And so
So
then you didn't
they get
need your
you in the system.
parents.
They get you in the system
Right.
already. They already have you in the system.
Because for 16 and up, you got fingerprinted back then. I don't know
Yeah,
how it is now.
yeah.
It ain't leisure now.
Yeah, but they still,
They
what
get
we
yeah.
doing out like what we as far as like a culture was doing what we loved and everything, you know.
Yeah,
When
but
you look at
now,
society, the politics of things, like they was already working a game on us.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even back then,
But now I think it's now I want to say I think it's a felony to paint on trains. So
Niggas that do
then
that.
so then after being in James Monroe High School, when I got close to the end of the 11th grade, I got kicked out for missing a lot of days for
Wow.
truancy. So then I had to go to Dewood Clinton. And when I went to Dewood Clinton, right? The number
They was-
4
yeah.
the
But
number
as far as James Monroe, what was the majority race that was in there?
that was
Because I know
black and
later on in my time, it was a
not
lot of Jamaicans,
no, it was black and Puerto Ricans. I had, like one of my good friends was Haitian there, but
Haitians, a lot of Caribbeans. Yep, yep.
no, but it was a lot of blacks and Hispanics there mostly.
Okay,
When
okay,
I went, but then
okay.
I went to Dewood Clinton because I got kicked out of James Monroe, and Dewood Clinton, that was an all boys school,
All
and
boys school
yeah.
football team. Yep, I remember that.
So then when I got there, ¿pa qué fue eso? Because graffiti writers like crazy there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all over there. So you get to meet tons of people. And then the 4-yard is right there where you could go
Was
paint
was
trains on the 4
was
yard.
Lehman College still there?
You
Lehman
know,
College.
I don't remember, bro, because it's been so long. Because I've been
Okay.
out of New York for like 40 years, man. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Yeah,
so
Lehman College. I went to Lehman College later on in life, and it's right next to DeWitt Clinton. That's a college, though. Believe it or
yeah,
not.
I
Yeah,
remember
Bronx
the
Science.
name.
Bronx Science. Remember Bronx
Yeah,
Science?
Bronx. Yeah, Bronx High School of Science. But then,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I'd go to the 4-yard painting because it was right there. Then you meet so many new people. They're showing you places that you haven't been before to go paint. You know, you meet people. Yo, this is where we could. You know, they're taking you to their stores where you can rack up paint because you pretty much during the week, the whole week, you spend stealing paint. What we call racking up paint, and you get all the paint you can, the colors you want, and then on the weekend you'd go painting.
And
And
through all of this,
that was your
the,
life, man. That was your life. All
but through all of that, as far as being a graffiti artist and all of that, besides that, was the hip hop what was as far as the music that you was listening to? Because there's always music in our lives.
yeah.
So when you was doing that, what kind of music was y'all vibing to as far as
Well,
like
the thing
the
about it
graffiti
is,
art?
I'm talking before hip hop. You know, before
Mhm.
but there was still music in the streets. There was still
Like
music in
what
the house.
what music would y'all
Okay,
vibe to?
in my house because my mom was a Christian. It was only gospel. My mom was a Spanish gospel singer. So all we heard in the house was gospel music, Spanish gospel music, right?
Okay.
And
Hmm.
so then in the streets, you know, you listen to R&B, funk, you listen to rock, you know, whatever was played in the streets, you know,
Right.
whatever, you know, even before hip hop, there was like little block parties, but it wasn't nothing like hip hop parties. It was just neighborhood
Yeah.
block parties and stuff like that, you
But
know.
what would be the main music that you know as far as
Well,
like
Well,
the
the
disc, disco.
yeah, disco was big back then, but then you also had R&B and funk music. You also had uh,
The good stuff.
salsa, merengue, you know, and then you also had your congueros in the streets, you know, in the parks or whatever. And
so
actually,
the graffiti crew that you used to be part of, like it was majority like Latinos, or was it?
nah, man, it's a mixture.
It
You
was
know, the
mixed.
thing about it is, I started getting into graffiti in 71. And even in 71, bro, in graffiti there was white people, black people,
Yeah, yeah.
Latinos of all kinds. There was you could find Chinese, you could find any race. It was a multiracial thing,
But who
bro.
was that one guy that you looked up to and you said, you know, he's nice, I want to rock like him? Or who was like your influence really
No,
when
man,
it came?
there was a lot of cool guys, a lot of guys that did some good stuff back then. But my favorite of them all was a guy named Phase Two.
Phase two.
Yeah,
Phase two. And he
Phase
was
Two.
what art
He
that you
he. No, no,
back,
he's like in the graffiti world. He was super famous, man.
or he was the
He was,
Moreno
yeah,
Latino?
he was a Moreno, and
Okay.
he he's the cat that pretty much came up with the bubble letter style.
There we go. Yep. That's
You know,
funny. Yeah.
he's down in the history books, man. He also used to do, you know, like people wonder how is graffiti connected to hip hop, right? You got people saying, "Ah, it's not a part of hip hop." Yeah, some people say, "Yeah, it is." But the thing about it is, there was Phase Two was one of the cats that used to do flyers. Okay,
For the
and
jams.
yeah, he was one of the cats. You had other cats. So uh, you had some graffiti writers that would do the flyers, and that was the connection, you know, to
Well, the streets was really the connection at the end of the
yeah,
day.
yeah. But what I'm saying is when you know, you got some people that say it ain't part of it, it is part of it. But what I'm trying to get at is that was the connection, I think. You know, well, that's my opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Did you get into breakdancing
Nah,
ever?
man. Nah, I never
Ever?
got into it. Never got into it.
Did you
I
get
see. I seen
into the Soul Train line type shit? Did you was you that type of dude? Like
into the
you
what?
go to parties like the Soul Train line, like you know how they used to do the
Nah,
boogaloo and
man,
all.
nah. But we used to go a lot to a lot of the discos. You know, back then when it was disco music, you know, it was
Right.
like,
Doing hustle.
yeah. But I'm trying to think. Oh man.
Well, your thing was straight graffiti, and you loved it like with a passion.
Oh
That was your
yeah.
thing.
No, I still do, man. I still love it. You know,
That's
if I
art,
didn't
man.
have to worry about getting caught, I'd still
Yeah.
do it, man.
No doubt, man.
You
I
know?
mean, it went a long way though. Regardless, it's
Yeah.
right now in this day of age, it's like downplayed a little bit
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not out there in the trains, and that was the main thing. I
That
think
was the
the
main
Yeah,
thing.
main thing.
no, and the thing
The
is
train
this.
was
Now
packed.
they do a lot of walls, you know.
Yeah,
They still do freight trains. There's
Permit.
people still doing, but see, this is the difference. You got people doing walls taking 3-4 days a week to do a wall and all this, and that ain't the same.
it's not
When we were doing
the
it,
rush.
whether you're
Yeah,
hitting
the
a
rush.
wall, whether you're hitting a train, whether you're hitting a building,
It was time.
you had to spray paint one, keep one eye on the wall, one eye for the cops, you know, and you still had to watch out for
One out for your enemy. One out for
gang.
your enemy.
Yeah, no,
Right.
gangs in the neighborhoods or people in
Yeah.
the neighborhood that didn't want you to destroy. So, you know, you were getting chased. You were getting, you know, it's different now. Everything's permission walls, permission this. So it ain't the same, man. And then you had to paint fast because you had to worry about the cops. These people, they take their time, you know, so they could come up with better things. And not only that, the paint today is made specifically for graffiti. You see,
Wow. I didn't know that.
the paint today that you see them using,
Hmm.
it's lower pressure. So that way you don't get like drips
Strips.
or
Yeah.
whatever, because back then the regular spray cans, they come out full force. So if you try to go in close to make a skinny line for some detail work, if you're not fast with your hand, it's going to drip all over the place. But now they're low pressure, so you can get in close and you don't have to move so fast, you know?
It's like the
And
Serato
so they make
film.
it easy for them, bro. It's
So when you
totally different.
started looking at your life when like graffiti was getting like out there, like as far as like the police, the government was paying attention, even if it was a negative thing to stop y'all, but it was getting that attention out there, and that was the main thing I think for graffiti is to get attention, to get your name out there, to be heard, to go be a rebel against what I'm saying, whatever rules was going on. Um, as you've seen it progress, whether it was negative or positive, um, how were you looking at it as far as your tag name? Like were you a significant person in that field? Was like
Yeah,
they, I
back
remember
then.
seeing Schick. I swear to God, when I came here, like in '84, I remember seeing like I've been all over the Bronx when I didn't even know English, and I remember the tag ups, the phase, and all that, phase
Yeah.
one, phase two, and I seen certain names that stood the test
Yeah.
of time, and they was out there glorified by
Yeah,
us, like
no, the
really.
thing is this, man, like from the 70s, all those cats know who I am. You know, the ones, even the ones that are big now that they've been in their movies like Star Wars and all, you know, a lot of those cats, they know who I am because, you know, I was like really prolific on the insides mainly. I did outside painting, but mainly I enjoyed tagging the insides. So at one point, I could say, me and my partner, Wasp One, he was a Dominican guy. And
Wasp. I remember that name too.
yeah, so he was like my brother, man. And so we had the number 4 train. Man, we killed that.
Man,
A lot.
that's why I was around. I was Sheridan Avenue, 164th.
Yeah.
So when I first came here, so that whole four
So
line
there's pictures of
by
Schick's
Yankee Stadium and all of
work
that.
as well, right? Right, Mr. Schick? You got pictures of some of the trains that you
Yeah,
bombed.
yeah, some of the earlier stuff.
Okay, so that's one
Yeah,
element. Look,
yeah.
he conquered the element. I mean, this is what's beautiful about when they united hip hop with all of the fields, as far as like
Yes.
the breakdancing and the
B-boying.
graffiti and all of this and the music together.
Yeah.
It brung it all together. So you went through it naturally. This is something you loved, as far as like the graffiti part. You loved it, and from there, it led you to a field of the music part, which you definitely made history in, and we would like to really know about that part. How's the transition as far as like the graffiti part of being a hip hop icon, really, and the
Transitioning to an
transition to
MC.
the music is
Yeah.
right there. Like what you told us the story, you was just fixated on just graffiti, the art of it.
Yeah,
Now how the music
I
part,
had
it's
I had
there's
no
no hip
intent.
hop anymore.
I had no
Mhm.
intent. You know,
So you got gospel in the house,
yeah,
you
got
got disco in the streets, and other
disco,
things,
funk,
blues,
R&B.
funk,
Salseros out there playing their congas and all that. And my father owned the bodega right in Grand Avenue,
bodega. You got to
around
do the bodega.
Yeah,
183rd,
Puerto
yeah.
Rican,
right?
Cuban, Dominican, we got the bodega.
So, across the street was like a basement in one of the buildings where a lot of salseros used to come, and so famous people, man, and they'd come. You see the limousines coming, and they'd always stop at my father's store for something, and
Hector stopped in?
then they go,
Hector?
they
Did
go,
Hector stop in your father's store though?
Hector
nah, no,
Lavoe.
Hector Lavoe,
no,
Frankie Reese, none of them.
no, but look,
Michael,
they'd get whatever they come to get, then they go down there because there was a lot of santeria going on down there.
there's a
So
lot of
that
tats.
so they would come and do their thing and then come back out, go back to my father's store, get something and leave. And then I don't know if you ever heard of a conguero called Batato?
Coño, con ese nombre, tú
Okay,
sabes que
check him out. Look,
está familiar.
well,
Because
look,
there's a lot of
he
Cuban,
he
a lot of
died.
Puerto Rican, they
I
got
believe
together.
I believe he died already, but he's super famous too. Um, you when you get time, look him up because
Okay, well, no.
he's a tremendous conguero, right? Traveled the world with
Those are the main ones
everybody,
in the back right there. So
But
that's the rhythm.
in
Like,
fact, he's the guy. Congas, you know how you can the leather skin on top of the congas,
yeah,
and then you
yeah.
have the little adjustment
Yeah, to
screw
lighten
thing
it up.
on the
Yeah, yeah.
side.
My father used to play congas
Well,
all the
He
time.
invented that.
Congas at
Oh,
one point didn't have that. He invented that.
wow,
Okay.
look at that,
Wow.
man. Look at that.
Okay.
History is being made in
So
the book.
that dude, he was like, man, every time he used to shake my hand, his hands were like rocks, man. It was like thick leather, bro. I'm not lying.
They
From
didn't even use
hitting
the
the
tape.
skin.
Back in the day, they only
Right?
got the tape
And
and
Yeah.
the gloves.
so,
Yeah.
I always had an interest in his stories. So he'd always stop and we'd talk for a long time. Then one day he comes to my father's store and he gives me a present, right? And that present was a Latin percussion whistle. I don't know if you've seen those around anywhere. A Latin percussion whistle, you could get 3 different tones out of it, because it looks like a cross. It looks like a cross. And what it
Oh,
has
let's see
is
it.
it's got 2 holes one hole on the left side, one hole on the right. And then, the rest of it is like a regular whistle. But when you blow, if you cover one hole, you get one sound. If you cover 2 holes, you get another sound. And if you uncover the 2 holes, you get a third sound. So you're able to do, that's what you hear in a lot of the Latin music. When you hear the pitos blowing, it's those Latin percussion.
That's the campesina music. Then.
So
It gives you the monte feel, right?
yeah, yeah. So I use that.
That's what's
I
up.
use that in a lot of shows. I'd use it on records and stuff like that. And
So you
so,
got into the Spanish side of, well, you already, of course, you're Puerto Rican, but then you got the gospel in your family. You got the funk and all of that in the streets. But your heart was really with the Latino.
well, put it to
And
you this way: back then, I wasn't really into Latin music. There's always the exceptional songs that you like, but I was
Yeah.
never
I was the
into it
same way.
back then. I appreciated it more as I got
Yeah.
older,
me too, me too.
and so, but anyway, yeah, that was it.
But you already, but you
My
already,
go
these
ahead.
instruments was around your way, like the conga
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
whistle.
yeah. They're all over the park, man. You know.
But that was in your heart already. So I'm trying to narrow everything up in your life where it leads you to the as far as the rapping,
Oh
the
man,
hip.
none of that led me to rapping, bro. I'll tell
Oh
you
no,
what
it
led.
led you to rapping. You know
No,
why?
no.
Because the first words when you rapped on a song was Spanish.
Yeah, but listen,
Yeah,
listen.
that's in your heart. That's in your heart.
I'll tell you. What I'm getting at is this: rapping, whether it's English or Spanish, it was not in my uh, vision. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It wasn't. I didn't wake up one day and say, "Yo, I want to rap." You know
No, not
that
most of us. I don't think I
that
did that either.
that wasn't it, man. Listen,
But
my
what was
father
the
had the
transition
bodega.
between that?
My father had the bodega, right?
Hmm.
So some days business was slow. So across the street from my dad's bodega lived the leader of the Mean Machine, right? So he had all the DJ equipment and everything. So my
And the
father,
Mean Machines were what? The Mean Machines.
that was
What's that?
a rap group,
A rap group. Okay.
right? And
Not a
so,
gang.
no. And so
Okay.
then my father would talk to Julio, the leader, and he would ask him to bring his equipment down and play music. So I'm pretty sure my father paid him. I never saw any money transaction, but nadie va a hacer eso gratis, you know?
Right.
So,
Them up.
so he'd play the music, which would draw a crowd and draw business for my dad's bodega, you know? And so he would do that. So that's how I got to know him.
Or what kind of music he was playing?
You know, back then it was already like 1970, 78.
So he was just playing records?
No. He was playing. Okay, remember, hip hop had already
Started.
started,
Yeah, it was
right?
always-
I mean, it probably wasn't called hip hop yet, but
Right.
it was.
But he's
It was
playing
already
rap.
going. You know,
was
there was
already
no rap music. He was playing like
Breaks.
right. The music
the
that
break.
people used to use for rapping.
Okay,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah,
And so
okay.
they would
Even
do that.
electronic.
They would do that, and then kids from the neighborhood would come and rap.
Okay.
You know, you had a neighborhood wino. He would come and rap, and little girls, little girls, boys,
Yeah.
they'd come and they say their little nursery rhymes or whatever. But it would draw
And
business.
This happened where? Where this happened?
This happened on Grand Avenue around the 183rd area in the Bronx.
To the Bronx. Okay. Bronx.
Yeah.
We in the Bronx right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So it fits in. The Bronx was the creation, the place where
Right.
where he got cultivated at. Okay.
So I got to know him like that. But then one day, my dad just decides, you know what? My uncle lives in South Carolina. So he's like, I'm going to move the family to South Carolina because the Bronx was getting like,
Super out of control.
yeah, man. So, I had 4 sisters. It was 7 of us, 4 boys and 3 girls. So my father didn't want to continue raising my sisters in the Bronx. He wanted something better for them. And so, they moved, and I told them I'm gonna
You're
stay.
the only one that went to the streets for this education. Everybody in your family was like house.
No. My sisters were strictly like a lot of church and gospel.
Right.
The 3 boys, my youngest brother, he was too young, but my brother that was born after me and him was always in the streets.
So you had your kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my father said he's moving, and I told him I'm gonna stay. And he said, all right, si te quiere quedar, quédate. So they left. And now, I have my job. I have my apartment. But then one day I lose my
You're in your 20s right here. 20s?
Yeah, I was 20, I think 20 or 21 or about to turn 20.
Yeah.
But
boy.
I think it was 20. But I lost my job. When I lost my job, I lose my apartment. So now I can't find a job and I don't have an apartment, bro. And I thought, things will get better quick. But
what you was doing at this time as far as like, your job, and then you was doing like your recreation, you was still tagging up, you was in the streets, okay.
But see, the thing is, once I lost my job, I lost my apartment. So then I end up having to live in the streets, bro. I was living in abandoned buildings. And in New York, when it gets cold, man. So I was living in an abandoned building, and I was stuffing newspapers inside my clothes for insulation in the winter. You know what I'm saying? And then in the summer,
drugs are part of that too, though?
There was drugs everywhere. You saying me?
Yeah, personal life, as far as like
Yeah. But
know.
but the thing about it is, in the summer I would sleep in abandoned cars, instead of the building. But then when you sleep in the building, I would sleep in the opposite corner of the door to come in, because I thought, man, si entra un tecato, I could see him before he sees me, because it's dark in here. So you're sleeping, and you had to try not to sleep too hard, because anything can happen. Bro, I'm talking about days when people
That's
go
before
by.
crack, though,
Look,
right?
yeah,
That's
before
before
crack,
crack.
it was just
Yeah.
heroin and cocaine, heroin and
Okay.
cocaine.
Okay.
Besides everything else, angel dust, pot,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
But
That
But
heroin.
so look,
the crack is a whole different thing.
back then, you talk about you had people that would like sell you the drugs. Then sometimes you had ladies in the building that would let you use their apartment to shoot up for a few dollars, and that was their
Little
little,
hustle.
little hustle, So you had somebody selling it to you, then you had somebody else letting you
And the
use their
network. It was a
apartment,
network.
and
It was a
then letting
network.
you use their apartment, and then renting you a needle. This needle, it was
Oh.
being used by tons of people.
Yeah.
So
It's
there
with
was
AIDS
no
and everything. All the
no
AIDS shit came through
no.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
this was before the AIDS.
Yeah. Before it,
Yeah.
but
we
you
just
led to it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
The needles and
you had all that, man, and so it's crazy. That's why I said it had to be experienced. It's hard to to explain it because with words you picture it in your head, but it
No,
was
I experienced a
worse.
little
It
bit in
was
Puerto
worse.
Rico. At that time, well, not at that time. I don't know what time that is, but in '84, that's when I landed in Puerto Rico. I remember being in caseríos and all of that, and I seen the needles go inside the veins
Oh
from the
yeah,
tecato. You know what I'm
yo,
saying? And we used to play hide and go seek, jumping over the tecatos and all of that, but with my friends, my Puerto Rican friends. But I remember I seen it. I used to stare in their face like, and they used to, catch that high.
Like I see
So
Well,
I
look,
remember seeing it. So
yeah.
I get the experience part.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
look,
not
man.
at the exact time, but
Yeah, check this out. Here I am. Like I started second grade in Puerto Rico, but here I was outside, first grade, right? First grade, and
First grade.
we're playing in the front of our building,
the
and
first grade too.
your mom's out there, but they're not really like looking at you because you're with the little kids playing. So
Right.
there's an alleyway. And we go there and we find all these dirty needles, but we didn't know they were needles. They didn't
Nah, I
have,
relate.
they were,
Darts at each
I
other.
they
relate.
were no. We were taking them, filling them up with water and squirting
Water.
each other.
Water.
That
During
was
water gun fights.
that was
Yeah.
our yeah
Yeah, that's what I used to do. That's what I
yeah
got. Water gun fights with the needles,
y'all
my nigga.
shoot.
Yeah.
And there was crystal. There was the crystal the needles. Like it was glass. It was actual glass. It wasn't a plastic like later on.
man.
It was
But
like
yeah,
Mini
the big
super
hidden
soakers.
guillas with the big needles. I remember that, man.
That's
Yeah, so,
crazy.
Wow.
You're playing with AIDS needles. Don't even realize it.
We didn't
yeah.
know, man. Little kids.
Man.
I was one. I came in first grade too in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
So he
wow.
was a whole different, probably
Yeah.
like 10 years before me. But when I came, it was the needle
Yeah.
playing
Excuse
with the
me.
fucking water gun. Yes, sir.
The water gun. I never heard that.
Oh yeah,
I used to
Yeah,
do it.
man.
I'm telling you.
Where y'all getting the water from? The puddles?
No, we used to go to our house and fill it up. And,
Get outta here.
because
no. We in New York we get it from the fire hydrant or just from like anything
I was
that
in
was
Puerto
out in
Rico
the
playing
street.
with
If it was
He
dirty
was in New
water,
York
yeah.
playing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I'm on something.
I was in Puerto Rico
Yeah.
though playing with that shit, man.
Yeah.
He
You
was
had
in New
the-
York.
You had
so,
the good water.
4 years later, I went to New York. And
She said they was getting
But-
puddle water, yo, whatever, yo. That's crazy.
I mean, in Puerto Rico, they got the little
Yeah,
streams on the
yeah.
side. So, now I could relate, though.
Yeah.
I could definitely relate to
Forget
that.
the water. I'm just playing with needles as water guns. That
know.
that's baffles to me.
Well,
man. That's
anyway,
crazy.
so here I was homeless, man, for a year and a half almost. Bro, I was eating food out of garbage. I was going to the supermarket, stealing food. And then, the roll-up gates in New York in the stores and stuff?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, in some of the bodegas, the bread man,
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy that would bring the Italian bread and all the
yeah,
different, they throw it on top of the gate.
With the hot
Yeah.
bread, the hot bread.
Yeah,
Oh,
the hot bread. So every
still-
morning I'd get there just after he'd do that, and I'd
Yeah.
take 2 loaves of bread, right? That was my
I'm a
breakfast.
son of a bodeguero.
Hey,
also.
and then by
I
look,
know.
Aqueduct Park, 183rd, and Aqueduct around there,
Uh-huh.
they used to be, if you walk down a little further down, before you get to the handball courts and all, there used to be like some private houses there. And so they used to deliver milk back then in the glass jars.
Wow.
The glass quart. So yo iba y me robaba un quart. Y con ese pan, that was my breakfast in the morning, man.
And through all of this, because you're going through fucking hard times here. This is not even, this is for real New
Yeah.
York life, Bronx life, hard life,
Tough life, yeah, absolutely.
Latino life too. Also
Shit,
being part of the environment, and you love of course, your craft, your graffiti. Because I know you love that with a passion. I seen an interview where I know that's your love.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it.
How as far as the music, like I know
How I got into it?
not even how you got into it, because you had to love. Because when I heard you rhyme, you know what I'm saying, as far as like what you did on the Sugar Hill, record, on the Mean Machine thing, I know you took it serious. Like I don't know, that's why you were like I'm trying to process it, because I know you had love for the graffiti, the art of it, and just tagging up and just the actual details of it. I know when you got into the music part, you had to love it as well, like that. So I want to know that love, that passion that took you, because I know you got the job, and what I'm saying, as far as like the position to get your the part of your rhymes out, but as far as the writing it, the emotions in it, the deepness of it, I know it had to do with your life, the pain you was going through at that time, because that's why hip hop comes from. It comes from your inner self, and I know you're yourself. You were MC. You wrote your own rhymes, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So it came from you. So that's what I want to get to that. That's
okay. Well, this is how it started. I'm gonna lead to that point. So I was homeless, and then one day I see Julio, and I'm like, "Yo, Julio, man, could I help you guys carry equipment on the weekends for a little bit of food money?"
King of Julio.
Julio was the leader of the Mean Machine.
Okay.
Okay. And so he's like, "Yeah, of course, man, porque ya me conocía." And so then I knew on the weekends I didn't have to steal. I had money for food, so I would go help them load the van up, go with them to the shows, help them set up, help them break down, help them bring it back, and put it in their studio. And that went on for a bunch of weekends, right? And so then,
can you give me a little picture of who the Mean Machine was before you met them, as far as like who they was?
Yeah.
Inside.
Now before I even knew them, the Mean Machine was three black guys and Julio, right? And
three black guys and Julio.
Right.
Julio and three black
now
guys.
Julio wasn't Julio. That's not his real name. But because because his partners in the group were Morenos, they would call him Julio, like he's the Spanish guy. Hey, Julio, as a
Out
joke.
of love, making fun
Yeah,
of him.
Wow.
not making fun.
of him, out of love. I got you.
Yeah, out of love.
Yeah.
His real name was Steven, but
but
they gave him Julio because they're Latino, and so
like Pepe.
Wow.
yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it started out like that. Then from what I seen, then it was two black guys and two Puerto Ricans. Then it was three Puerto Ricans, one black guy.
Oh shit.
Then it was three.
Overthrowing the black man.
Hey, then it was three Puerto Ricans, one black guy. No, two Puerto Ricans, one guy from St. Croix, and another black guy. Right?
But there was already musicians, like there was music.
They were already rappers. They were rappers.
Rappers,
and then they had the DJ. Julio was a rapper / DJ, and so.
So it's more
then
like Menudo.
finally,
it's like Menudo, but back in the day, they was switching actual members, but there was like a band.
Adult Menudos, yeah. Hey,
right.
But
Menudo.
but
Black Menudo.
So then one of the guys in the group did something and went to jail. So then they already committed to shows, and they needed one more guy for the act. So they're looking for a temporary replacement until that guy comes out. So then Julio had a young son. Julio had a little kid, and he was like, "Yo, Daddy, Danny can do it. Danny can do it." Because I'm there watching them rehearse, so I knew everybody's part, right? So then, I know they were looking at me like, "Yo, this is Danny, the homeless guy."
They didn't. Was a fan.
They didn't
Were you
say
a fan
it.
of them? Were you?
No,
a fan
man,
of
I
them?
wasn't. I wasn't even a fan. They were my meal ticket. They were my the people that gave me money so I can eat on the weekends. I still wasn't looking to be a rapper. You understand?
Right. You
But
just didn't want to be hungry.
So you did it
yeah,
for like more of a job,
yeah,
not more.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I
Okay.
needed food. And so then finally they couldn't find anybody and they put me in front of a mic and I rehearsed with them and it worked out. So then what they did was they bought me some clothes so I can get on stage with them. And so then I started doing shows with them and rehearsing and doing shows and they paid me a little more. So that was good. But then the guy comes out of jail and I'm back to Danny carrying the equipment and he gets his position back, right? A
Yeah, but
few,
to get that spot that you got, you had to be talented.
well, the thing about it is now remember, I was doing that guy's rhymes. Okay.
Okay,
Because
but you
they
was
were,
doing it.
Still
but
though, you
You was
yeah,
still
you
doing
right,
it.
had to
right.
remember
So
and do
that put the little bug in me like, man, I could do my own stuff. But
right.
then I get booted down back to carrying equipment and this guy gets his spot back. But then months down the road, he does something stupid and goes to jail for 7 years. Right.
Damn.
So then they told me, hey, Danny, we'll use you as a temporary replacement until we find a permanent. So I said, okay, and so then I started writing my own stuff and
What
showing
you
it.
thought about his rhymes though? When
Huh?
you was actually like mimicking his rhymes, right?
You're like, it's
No,
trash.
no,
Like
no.
you
I
was
would,
rehearsing, you was doing what he was
when
doing,
I,
right? Before.
yeah, I was rapping
What
his
you thought
stuff.
about his rhymes though? What you thought like they're cool or you could do better?
Well,
That's what I'm getting.
back then it was like, kind of like the flow was tan 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 tan
It
tan
was already
tan.
Like your
You
first
know what I
time.
mean?
It's like
And so that
it's a
really
certain type
wasn't.
of already.
Yeah, that
Okay,
really wasn't my style. And so
that's why you was doing it
um,
for money and you was like, it's a job.
yeah,
Okay,
so then I'm temporary, but then I'm not living in the streets anymore because ya me cogieron confianza, right? And they
yeah.
started letting me stay in the studio and sleep there.
okay.
So then that's when I started writing my own rhymes and doing stuff. And then they allowed me to use that in the show,
¿Te
my own
trataron
rhymes.
bien?
Huh?
¿Te
Yeah.
trataron
Oh,
bien
yeah.
como,
All the time,
como
man.
familia o te
Yeah.
trataron
Yeah. No,
como
no, no. They wouldn't let me sleep there if they weren't cool with me.
so
They trusted me because they knew
they
me
give you love,
before
they
that.
give you
They
love and
knew me
respect.
before that,
'Cause you
you
know how
know?
people are, man. They see
Oh,
certain
yeah.
people in certain situations and they take
Yeah.
advantage.
No,
And
but look,
at least they give you that shot, that love,
yeah.
you know.
So then
So,
I'm there alone. I write my own rhymes. Then I start doing shows with them using my own rhymes, not that guy's rhymes anymore.
Oh,
Then, then one day in the studio, I'm like, I think it was 1980. I said, yo,
yeah,
no, pensé, nobody's doing this in Spanish. Now, I don't know why I thought about that, but I said, nobody's doing this in Spanish. So I started,
ese corazón latino,
you
papi,
know,
ese corazón
I'm
latino,
going to write some
esa
Spanish
sangre
rhymes.
latina.
Yeah, so I said I'm gonna write some Spanish rhymes. So I started writing Spanish rhymes, right? And didn't tell the group, didn't tell anybody, nothing. And for months, man, I was
yeah.
writing Spanish rhymes and didn't
No
tell
music.
them. And since I was in the studio, I would rehearse them in
Became
front
like,
of the
see,
mic and the
Right.
mirror by myself.
Wow.
Then,
that's what hip hop is about.
then
That's
one
exactly
day,
what hip hop is
one day
about.
we're going to do a show in La Playa. It was either Brighton Beach or Coney Island Beach, right? So we get there, get out the van, and I'm like, holy crap. Me asusté un poco because there was a lot of gangs out there, man. And so, and you're in the
Brooklyn, right?
beach.
You're Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
but
Right.
you're still
You're
in the beach.
That's
But
like
then,
Coney Island.
you thought the Bronx was bad. That's
yeah,
Brooklyn was
so my fear was like, yo, if something goes down, you could run into enemy's camp without knowing it. At least
We
in the
dead.
Bronx, you know where
yeah.
you're going. But and there was a lot of civilians too, but it seemed like there was thousands of people in that playa that day, and it was like 50-50 Latinos and
So Brooklyn,
Morenos,
we could
right?
say Brooklyn already adapted to hip hop, and as far as like there was
Right.
a big market because at the end of the day, remember, because they always give the credit always to the Bronx, the creation of hip hop where it started.
Right, right, right.
But Brooklyn, like he was saying right now, like
There was
Brooklyn
a
already
way.
had a big crowd waiting for people.
But they already had
Yeah,
music on the radio.
but
in
they
1980. Yeah, you're right.
no, no,
1980.
no, no. Listen, this was before the records and stuff. Not
See,
the,
so
that was before us
so Brooklyn
having a
was
record.
already part
was
of the hip
already,
hop
yeah.
music.
That was
Absolutely.
before us having a record because there was already a few records out in '79 and '80. But
But
listen,
we're saying in Brooklyn at that time, they
oh
were
yeah,
aware of hip hop as
yeah,
well. It
yeah,
was already
yeah.
Do
So
you agree?
citywide.
Do you agree that hip hop, like the cultivation of hip hop, as
no,
far as
it was
the
already in '80.
in the Bronx?
That
No,
was
I'm saying as far as
already.
the Bronx, do you think that the Bronx is the creator of the hip hop movement?
Well, to be honest with you, man,
Yeah.
the truth of the matter is that like okay, for instance, like I say, they have the credit. The Bronx has the credit.
Yeah.
You
What do
know,
you feel? Because you lived through it, so
But
you know.
but what I'm getting at is this, like I rapped in Spanish, right? And
Mhm.
English. But I was so then you have other people years later that, oh no, you weren't the first guy to rap in Spanish.
Fuck all of them.
No,
You,
no,
I'm talking
listen,
to you,
listen to me.
through you,
Listen to
your
me.
shit.
No,
Yeah.
but listen. Oh, fulano de tal, this guy rapped in Spanish. El La Cotorra, que si esto, que si lo otro.
Claro.
Joe Bataan, this and that. And I'm like, yo, don't you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, as far as MCs, I was the first MC to record Spanish rap.
Yeah,
Now,
record.
there was
Yeah.
comedians that did Spanish rap. I never heard them. I find out years later, but they weren't of the culture. And that's what a lot of these guys don't understand. You know, you have
You talking about really Spanish rap? Like
Right.
I can't picture anybody
so
else.
so
Because
anyway,
you just told me that story that you just told me.
yeah, so
This classifies you as like the number one, like
The
first
first.
started.
no, I am the first MC to do
Yeah,
Spanish rap. But
yeah.
listen, so then I thought, man, this is where I'm going to do my Spanish rap. I didn't tell the group,
Right at
you
that
know,
Coney Island.
so I didn't tell them. So I said, this is where I'm going to do because hay tantos Latinos aquí, So we get up, they put us on a roof, on a store roof, so everybody could see us. And so then the music goes down. Jimmy does his part. Julio does his part. I do my part. And I start rapping in Spanish.
So give me the visual though first.
Okay, bro.
Give me the back real quick,
Imagine
please.
you're on a roof and you could see everybody, la playa
So like
completa
Orchard
for
Beach when
miles.
they have the skipper
Yeah,
bands,
yeah, but
almost like Orchard Beach.
only bigger, man. It felt like,
Wow, bigger.
and
Wow,
so
big. Right? Beach
it
is bigger.
felt like
It is.
thousands of people, man.
It is.
So then, as soon as I started rapping in Spanish,
Pero tell me, when you walk up, it's how many brothers, how many Latinos?
it was like around 50-50. You can't.
Yeah,
No, no, before you and your crew. Like,
Okay. When I got in, then I was the last Puerto Rican. So it was 3 Puerto Ricans and 1 guy from St. Croix, from the
Morenito, but
islands.
that was all
Yeah,
y'all had.
pero él podía hablar un poco de español, tú sabes.
Sí, pero entonces porque se veían como morenos.
Yeah,
Porque
yeah,
entonces,
yeah.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
froze.
He was
Yeah.
the lightest one.
Okay, he was
Yeah,
the last
he
one.
was the
Okay.
lightest
Yeah, I'm the lightest guy. Well,
Yeah,
and
get
the
on the
DJ,
stage.
the DJ was my color too, Mr. Nice.
Okay.
Pero
But it
que,
was beautiful. It was the mixture of both.
Got the
So,
Yeah.
pink cheese too.
so quick. So,
so we get,
you know, because
I-
it is a
Yeah.
movie.
yeah, so
I'm
I,
watching this right now in my head as a movie.
yeah, so
So
I,
y'all get on the stage.
so I start rapping in Spanish. Once the other 2 did their thing, I start
But the
rapping in
mic, the
Spanish.
mics. You got the regular mics, the
Yeah,
stand-up mics.
yeah. So with the
And y'all get
chords
up
and
there. Y'all
everything.
get up there. Y'all walk up there and you grab a mic. Tell me,
Yep.
tell me.
Yeah, we all 3 line up. I'm in the middle. Jimmy's to my left and Julio's to my right. So then Julio starts off and he does his thing. Jimmy comes on, does his thing. And then I'm last in the middle and I do my thing. I start rapping in Spanish and the crowd roared, man. The crowd roared so loud.
And what was the
What
name?
were they
What
looking
was the
at?
name of the song you did?
Okay, I'll explain all that after I tell this little part.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so I do my part in Spanish and the crowd roared so loud. To me, it sounded like thunder. It may not have been, but to me, it did. The whole crowd,
Oh, it was thunder. It was thunder.
and so,
I had that feeling before. It was
bro,
thunder.
after that, when we stepped down, all those gang members and everybody, they were high-fiving me, like giving me hugs, like now we got a representative, And so then the group said, hey, man, you're no longer a temporary, you're permanent, and we're including Spanish in all our
Yeah, it
shows.
was
And
smart.
now this was like when I first did Spanish, they both turned their heads, faced me like we're gonna kill you. But when they saw the reaction of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
crowd, they changed their mind.
I can imagine.
El
Yeah.
Comandante.
Yeah. So
El
now, what was the
Comandante.
question you were asking, Cuban? Before I said, let me
What was
tell.
the song? What was the
Oh,
song that
okay.
you
So there was
performed?
no song. There was no, because back
It
then
was freestyle. Freestyles?
you just did your
Yeah.
thing. Back
Oh,
then there
okay.
was no songs.
It was like
But did you
okay.
have a routine though? Was it a
Yeah,
routine?
it was routines. Before songs,
Yeah.
you had
So
routines.
they're doing the same verse that they've done as the routine for
Yeah,
this. And here
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
Right, they stick to the structure of it, but they just spit
yeah,
whatever they
Yeah.
want at the
Yeah.
time.
Here
yeah,
I
come
got
Danny
you.
Raps
I
changing
got
the
you.
whole
Danny
flow.
Raps,
yeah,
yo.
yeah.
That's
So,
hey,
so what I
Mr.
did,
Schick.
so what I did was,
shake. Hey, you got a good shake.
Sugar Hill Gang did like, what you hear is not a test. No,
Not a
I'm rapping
test.
That's
to the beat.
rapping to
Okay,
the
so
beat.
they're telling the world that they're rapping to the beat. It's a new thing. So I
Right.
I thought to myself, so how can I do this in Spanish and let them know? So what I did was I said, I started off. Estamos tirando un baile, mi gente, y queremos que todos vengan. Sí, pues tenemos una cosa nueva y queremos que se la aprendan. Se está regando por todo el mundo y a tu pueblo ya ha llegado. Si quieren oír esta cosa nueva, lo encuentran en todos lados.
Lados.
Sí,
Ay.
sí, les abrí las puertas a este ritmo, sí que tanto les fascina. Se lo traje en español, mi gente, para América Latina. And
Ay,
but,
ay, ay.
I went on more, but that was
Wow, but
Yeah.
that
those
was just
words.
that. I just
Those
wanted
are not regular
to.
words. Those are words that stick to you.
Yeah.
Poetry. Like
Yeah.
it's not like you saying basic bullshit.
Yeah.
Like those are words that of course the style is old school. From the
Yeah,
era.
yeah,
But
yeah, of
hey,
course. But
is the
back then,
message
it
really
was something new.
prolific.
And then at
Fact.
the end,
It's poetry.
towards
How
the
hard you
end,
did, but you wrote this, right? You wrote this. You didn't
yeah,
translate
yeah.
it.
No,
You
I
wrote.
wrote that in
Tell me
Spanish.
about that. Tell me what the fuck happened that you was when you was writing. When you said, you know what, in your mind, the idea already like clicked that you was gonna do this shit on
Yeah.
your own.
So look, man, when I wrote, I didn't write perfect Spanish. I wrote it the way I pronounced it because remember,
That's
I was in
perfect.
Puerto Rico second, third, and fourth grade. So I knew how to write, but I didn't know how to write it correctly because it's been years since I was in Puerto Rico.
Did anybody help you with that?
No,
That's why.
man. Remember, I was by myself. I could write it. I may have gotten a letter wrong or something like that, but when I wrote something, I knew what I meant. You know what
Did
I
you
mean?
Oh, right,
did
right.
you
And
write that?
It happens.
Did you write that verse to a beat or just
Well, he
like
did.
in
He had
your
the
head?
no,
structure.
man.
The American already. The
See,
American rapper. The
yes.
concept.
So
Yeah.
I already
didn't
knew. I knew
Yeah.
the music that they use all the
give you the
time.
melody. He
So
followed the melody.
But I'm saying you weren't listening to any beat while you were writing.
He
It's just
had the
in your
melody.
head.
He had the
no,
melody.
no. All I had was the old school, like
The
my old
melody,
school
yeah,
flavor. Cause so
yeah.
it just like.
So he
Because
put the
really,
words
man,
without the melody.
you could do
Spanish.
it. Okay, look, I'll show you the same rhyme. You squeeze it into just using the same rhyme. You could change it just by uh,
Yeah, because
squeezing in all the syllables.
Yeah.
Look, like the same
because
rhyme, right? My rhyme
right,
went like
yeah,
this.
right.
Estamos tirando un baile, mi gente, y queremos que todos vengan. Sí, pues, right? But then you could, if you want it different, back then, if you wanted like a little faster back then, it would be, estamos tirando un baile, si queremos que todos vengan. Tenemos una cosa nueva, queremos que se la aprendan. Se está regando por todo el mundo, a tu pueblo ya ha llegado, quieren oír esa cosa nueva, lo encuentran en todos lados. You're just pretty much squeezing more words into.
Yeah. But I'm saying you didn't need an actual instrument playing.
No. I
Okay,
could
gotcha.
have played.
Like how we do it
What
today.
he's saying, it was some sort of like a format.
Yeah.
When you get on the mic
Right,
and you
right.
spit.
Yeah.
But he
This
didn't
is
need to
what
hear
you
a beat.
hear is not a test.
Yeah.
Look, get
Yeah.
the cool
Right.
Because
you can do it in Spanish.
hey,
But it's
because
that same, melody.
all they did, like, well, I don't know if everybody did it, but all I did was use the 4 count. One,
Gotcha,
2, 3,
Right.
4. 1,
And
2,
Right.
3.
That's what I'm saying. You got to know music.
When you wrote it, you didn't have an actual beat playing. While
No,
you inspired it.
no.
That's
It
what
No,
I'm at. Yeah,
bro,
yeah.
I used that rap for disco
need that.
music. I used
Yeah,
it.
I don't
yeah,
need that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I go around
Yeah,
with
me too. I'm just
I
saying.
used it in different. I used
Yeah.
it with different
We got
music.
different melodies now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's different. melodies.
But it's
Back
way
then-
different now, man. No,
Yeah,
but then
back then-
even back
but
then,
that was
when
poetry.
I heard the Treacherous 3, they had
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I can't remember their song, but it had fast rapping, and I thought, man, one day, man, I want to do that too. So I did it. Y eso lo sé para el disco. But it was just my own version of. It wasn't like theirs, but it was my own version of. Back then, this was fast rapping. Today is slow, but back then it was like sure, shocking body, rocking, finger popping, never stopping, nose coming, never going, getting crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Man.
back then it was fast. Today that's super slow. But you know,
Yeah.
those were the early experimentations.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
that's
wow. That's
crazy,
crazy, man.
And how you? I mean, I know you're proud of well, of course, you know that craft. As far as even everything, as far as your graffiti days, your music
The
days,
legacy.
and you know what would you say is your heart to this day? As far as is it both of them at
No,
the
I
same?
love, you know, I'm right now, I'm up to the point where I love them both. You know, I
Yeah,
do equally,
yeah.
you
Yeah, I
know,
mean, both of your
and
stories are amazing, both of them. So I'm sure you should love them both, because I know, you know, graffiti's an art by itself, you know, which is in a canvas more, and
yeah.
music is from the heart. It's for your, you know, from everything as far as like you know, it's your voice. It's your
Well,
voice being
yeah, you know,
instrument.
and music took me from being homeless to being on a stage, man, and then recording music, you know, and traveling with, you know, opening up for like people like Rick James, the Gap Band, Yarborough and People, Confunction, all kinds of groups, you know, besides some of the rap people, the
Yeah.
Sugar
And
Hill
how you
Review.
feel?
But
How was your as far as like when you got to your peak as far as like your career or you know you made it you know you wasn't a regular guy no more you know you somebody that was you know in with
Yeah, you know, where your music is being played all over the radio and
yeah
everything.
yeah, you're in
yeah
the
You
in
know,
crowd.
right
I
you know
was
and
I was pretty much still the same guy, man. I was always a humble dude, you
no
know.
but as far as like, how you felt for the music as it was changing because it was change it was a change to it when you see
Yeah,
oh you see like a lot of more competition coming like you know what I'm saying like people doing the same thing he was doing it was like and not too many went to the Spanish genre
yeah,
did they?
well, put it to you this way. The first time I ever heard Spanish rap again after me, I'm in my living room in South Carolina, and you know, MTV when they
Wow,
used to
MTV.
when
He
they
meant it
That's
all
that's a
time.
long time
hey,
That
after
gotta
you.
be
yeah.
Melo-Man
No,
Ace's
listen. When
connection.
when they uh when they used to do the parties at the beach,
Yeah.
the stage
Spring break.
the
Yeah, I remember
stage
that.
okay,
I remember that TV shit. Yeah.
okay, well look, the stage backdrops, the backdrops that they use for the stage,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that used to print those, you know, and then
Wow.
send it to them. And so that's why I used to watch MTV every now and then, you know. But then this time, you know,
Dope, man. Dope.
I'm vacuuming la carpeta en la sala and the TV's on and they're going to introduce this dude. And I thought, oh, he's a rapper. So all of a sudden, I hear him and he starts rapping in English and in Spanish, English, Spanish, you know. And at that very moment, 9 years after me was the first time I heard Spanish rap again. But listen,
¿Quién
nine,
fue ese?
I'll tell you, but look, that's the minute that it hit me in my head. I said, yo, I was the first guy to do this. That's when I realized that I was the first guy to do this. And it was Melo-Man Ace.
Melo-Man Ace.
Shout out to
Salute, man.
Melo-Man.
Salute.
And so
Told you,
then,
man. That's the
and
gun
so
shop
then,
there, bro.
really, hey,
Cubano también,
look,
cubano.
yeah, but you know, if it wasn't for Melo-Man Ace, you guys wouldn't be interviewing me. Nobody would have, because nobody
That's
knew where
That's a
I
fact.
was. I didn't
but
tell.
that's how it should be. That's how it
Look,
should be.
I
You
didn't
give him the
tell.
baton, and you know what I'm saying he respects that and he do that.
Hey,
And
I
yeah,
never told anybody where I moved to. But one day, one of my younger cousins saw an interview that Mello did and on Gully TV, and
Gully,
That's
Gully
what.
you
TV.
That's
know,
the one
Salute
that
to
I
Gully.
saw. That's the one that I
and
saw.
so he gave me my props about how when they first came from Cuba and all this, and then he heard me rap in Spanish, he was like, "Yo, I want to be like that guy," you know.
Dope,
And so
dope.
then my cousin hashtagged him, you know, like, thanks for giving my cousin Danny Rivera, Mr. Schick, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't know exactly what was said, but then Mellow-Man contacted my cousin, yo, you for real? You're his cousin. I've been looking for him, whatever. And so you know, can you get me his number or something like that? And my cousin said, well, let me ask him. So I told him, yeah. And he called me up, man, and we spoke for a good little while. And he was asking me all kinds of questions because he wanted to verify that that was really me. You know, not somebody imitating. But then he's like thanking me, man, and like, yo, you don't understand. Because of you, I never had to work a day in my life, man. You showed me my path in life. And so then he goes, man, if you're ever in California, let me know. I'll drive to wherever you're at to meet you and thank you, man, in person. And so I said, it's funny because I'm going to be in California in 3 weeks doing some graphics for BMW out there in,
So you got into graphics after a while.
yeah, I've been doing graphics for 42 years. And so
That's part of the graffiti.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's what
See
got
that?
me in. So anyway, I was out there and he goes, just give me the address. I gave him the address, bro. He shows up. We hung out for a few hours and talked, and it was great, man. To me now, he's like my brother, man.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a great
And
man.
Shout out to Melo-Man.
yeah. And so then, you
He's
know,
definitely a
yeah,
pivot to the
so
industry.
when he met when he first
especially Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
so when he first, you know, met me over the phone, then he's like, yo, I'm going to post a little something about you online. Don't be surprised if people start coming out of the woodwork. And I didn't think anything of it, bro. And he did a little tribute post about me on his,
Recently?
no, this was on years ago on his,
Okay.
Facebook, feed. And bro, the next day I wake up and I got like 600 and something messages from people from all over Latin America, from all over Asia, from Europe, you know, from America. And bro, they wanted to know what I've been doing, this and that. Do I still want to record? You know, the groups calling me up to record with them.
They try to get you features
You
and
know,
Big
walkthroughs.
salute to
hey,
Melo
and then,
Ace,
you know,
man,
they're
for
trying
doing
to,
that. That's how hip hop. That's how
honorable.
it should be done.
That's honorable.
That's how it should be done.
and
That's
trying
honorable.
trying to stick me in, asking me if I want to do some old school shows, you know, get on, you know, on
They put you
tour.
on to get
Yeah,
some-
yeah. And so,
Get
you
You
know,
passed him the baton, and he passed it right back to you.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
real shit.
it
That's
was
real
like, you know,
respect, man.
and I asked him one time, I said,
La
bro, why,
conexión
you know,
cubana
why,
y puertorriqueña,
you know,
como
you didn't have to give me props,
That's the both
you know,
worlds.
because you know, he told me I give you props in almost all my interviews. And I went back and I checked, and bro, that dude, almost every interview, he always gives me props from years back. And so, so I was like, man, but why did you do that? You didn't have to. People say, yo, you were the first. You could have kept that and rolled with it. But he's like,
He didn't even know you.
yeah,
like that,
yeah. But he was like,
that
yo,
was that.
he was like,
love,
you know,
Cuban love, man.
me giving you your props ain't gonna take any shine away from my star, is what he said. You know, and I admire him. I admire him for that, man.
That's an ingredient of hip hop, man.
Yeah, it's an
That's,
alley-oop,
man. That's the ingredient of hip hop, man. We started from the streets, and we live up. You know, it's embedded inside the actual music of hip hop. You know, the fact that we use samples from cultures besides us.
Yeah.
And music that was from the oldies.
No, but then back in the day, there was no such thing as samples when we were in the studio. You know,
well, it was break beats. So it was
no,
somebody else's stuff.
yeah,
so it's somebody else's stuff, though. It's always somebody else's stuff.
But
Yeah.
I think
that we rap on.
But Mr. Schick, correct me if I'm wrong. Not everything was sampled on your end.
No, there was no sampling back then, bro. A band had to play it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what they would do was
after
like
the break beats, no, right? That's after the break beats.
Yeah, but the break beats
No,
the part. It's like the part.
Break
Yeah.
for the dancers, for the break
yeah,
dancers.
yeah. But listen, what would happen is like the rap groups on Sugar Hill would, like, say our DJ would mix what we wanted. We'd show it to the Sugar Hill and Miss Robinson, this is what we want. And then she'd hook you up with the arranger, right? Jigs Chase in the studio. And then you talk about, okay, this is how you want it. Do you
Yeah,
want,
but that's what you had. You had
yeah.
that professional shit.
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about
So it's like,
Yeah, but
no,
he would
but
get
the
with
record
it.
companies back then, that's how it was. There was no sampling
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
no, but I'm
So,
talking about the streets, the actual guys in the streets that used to
oh
you,
yeah,
the
yeah,
mix.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's what
They
I'm
did
saying.
it
In the
off
park.
other
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Park.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
what I'm
But
saying.
I'm saying, like in the record company, then,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, you want 4 bars bass, no bass, 4 bars, 4 bars bass, no bass. Then you want your break here, you want this there,
Okay.
whatever. And so that's how they would lay it out. Then
I relate.
the band would play it. You come,
Band, bro.
you
That's
you
crazy.
come back, you come back.
No producer, just the band.
You come back the next week and they had your music for you, you know?
Wow. Here's a funny thing about the whole with Melo-Man. That's so I saw the interview when he was on Gully TV, and that's how I got introduced to you because I saw the whole episode. I was like, Mr. Schick, who's Mr. Schick? And then I did my little bit of research, but that's where I left it. I didn't realize that moving forward, I would because I knew Big Earl for years, and he was like, yo, I was like, yo, come through, man, let me do an interview. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the air now, and he's like, all right, I got you, kid. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna bring somebody else. So I said, all right, cool, bring whoever you want. It don't matter. And he brought Thurston Howell the third.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was the first time I met Thirst, and they were like, "Yo, it's like Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're gonna call this dude by the name of Mr. Schick," and it rang bells for me because I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I remember that name," and I said, "Yo, he's connected to Melo-Man Ace, right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh yeah, I seen some stuff on him." So we got you on the phone.
I remember that, man.
Right. So then after that, I was like, "Yo, I gotta get a hold of you, dude." And at that time, that was the first video interview I think that was ever done of you on the internet.
I think everything else was phone.
Right, correct. So I actually had the first video interview
This is amazing
of Mr. Schick. You know what I'm saying?
This is amazing for me. I didn't even know about Mr. Schick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I saw love.
And me, I'm a student of hip hop.
Yeah.
And I've been on my little path to actually
learn.
Digging at the archives up, of course. You know what I'm saying? And I know that, as far as being a black culture, I believe definitely it's a black culture. But I know that us Latinos, like as far as like Puerto Ricans, for instance, they was, the first students of hip hop.
Right.
I know that for a fact.
The baton was passed.
And I always wanted to find out more about it. And for me to be here, in front of this legend is
out of the horse's mouth, which is the best way to get your information these days, right? You know what I'm saying?
I love the horse's mouth.
So through Mr. Schick, I was able to connect with. That's how I was able to connect with Melo-Man when I interviewed Mr. Schick.
Salute to Melo-Man, man, because at the end of the day, you see how it goes. That love, that appreciation, that gratitude. You know what I'm saying? It took a man like Melo-Man to bring it back to where.
Absolutely.
And that's how it is, man. That's how even me, man, like me and Pun, like a Boricua and a Cubano.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Got together and you know what I'm saying? And it's about really hip hop, but it's about us being, you know what I'm saying, that love that puts us together and that appreciation and that giving back also. You know what I'm saying? Giving back and moving the culture forward. And to see this as far as like the relationship between him and Melo-Man Ace is a beautiful thing to hear about it. You know
so 100% out. Now, technically, so when you guys, after you performed at what Coney Island or what beach was that? Could have been?
It was either Brighton. It was either Brighton or Coney Island. I don't remember which one. And that was in 1980.
Okay, so in 1980,
he rocked the crowd. 1980, that's the Mariel. That's when I came.
Oh, so look at that! Wow.
So I'm visioning my life.
Right.
I came in a boat, 5 years old, butt naked, to Miami. So I was still a fucking Rumpelstiltskin. I was still a little, Marielito that didn't even know English.
Yeah.
So he was already rocking stages.
Yeah. So after you rocked the stage in 1980, how soon after that were you in a meeting with Sugar Hill Records?
It was a few months later, but the thing but it was a few months later, still 1980. They didn't come looking for us. I didn't even know this was happening. We usually were always together as a group, hanging out or whatever. But this day, it was just Jimmy and Julio. Jimmy was the guy from St. Croix. He was the youngest member. Okay, so at that time, we were all in our 20 years old, and Jimmy Jimmy was 15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Jimmy and Julio, they decided to go to Sugar Hill Records to see if they could get us signed. So they go to Sugar Hill Records without an appointment, and they go there and they ask to speak to Sylvia Robinson. So the lady at the desk tells them, "Do you have an appointment?" They said no. They said, "Well, you can't see her. She's going to be busy the whole day." And they asked her, "Can we wait in case she's got a free, moment or whatever?" She goes, "I can't guarantee anything, but if you want to sit down, you might be there all day." And pretty much they sat down and they waited. Hours and hours went by, according to them. Then finally, close to the end of the day, she comes out and says, "Could I help you guys?" And they told her that they're a rap group and they want to see if she would sign them. And she goes, "You have a demo tape?" And they said, "We don't have one with us, but we can get you one." She goes, "Come back next week with a demo tape and we'll talk." So they went back to the Bronx and they told me and our DJ about it. And we all got happy. Man, we got an appointment next week.
Yeah.
So then that whole week we were practicing. And then we told our DJ, this is the music we want. We wanted Dance to the Drummer's Beat to cut it up so we could use it for a song. So he cut it up and we're ready to do it. And then a thought came to my head. Wait a minute. If we give her a demo and I have my Spanish raps on that, and then she decides, I'm not going to use you guys, and doesn't give us back the tape, somebody else can do my Spanish rhymes. I said, I'm not going to put Spanish rhymes on that tape. I'll do my Spanish rhymes live.
Wow.
Right?
So you knew you had some special.
Well, the thing about it is, I don't know if, God put a little wisdom in my head or what, but,
He did.
but anyway, so we just took the music and we gave it to her. That following week, she played the tape, and in the room was Sylvia Robinson, was Jigs Chase, the arranger, and her husband, Joe Robinson, and a guy named Milton, un judío. I guess he was the money guy. And
yeah, they always was there. They was burning down the building back in the day.
Right.
So,
they burned him down Bronx.
So she starts playing the tape, no words, and she goes, "Where's the vocals?" And we told her, "We're going to do it live for you." So she played it again and we did our thing live. And, here she is hearing the Spanish. They're all like this, bobbing their heads to Dance to the Drummer's Beat while the Spanish rap is playing. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it, she just turns off the tape and she goes, "Come back next week. We're going to have contracts for you guys to sign." And so the following week, we came. Now, Jimmy's mother had to come and sign for him because he was 15.
Yeah, 15.
So she's
not to say nothing about Jewish guys. Like at the end of the day, let's give props to them.
Yeah.
Because they listened to these guys and they actually, they gave them a deal and then they believed in them.
They had the money.
So when it comes to hip hop, like I'm saying, it goes beyond just certain times about the creation of it. Because black Latinos and there was white people in there, man, too, man, that made it happen, that pushed the pen, to the next level when it came. So hip hop, as we go back in history, it's a conglomerate of people that got together and believed in the actual music.
Yeah, it evolved
because these guys had something special. Mr. Schick had something special when he kicked that rhyme in Spanish.
And he knew it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what the thing. You knew it. Like you said, God had his back.
Yeah.
So you
didn't know what the special was, but you knew something was special there.
Well, the funny thing is, it set us apart because when we were on tour, we toured with R&B and funk bands. I even toured with white singers like Rick Springfield, and also with Latin like Tito Puente and stuff like that because of the Spanish rap, man. We opened up for Tito Puente and a few of the other Latin artists, and that were big names. So it took us all in a different avenue,
So because you did it in Spanish,
yeah.
So because you did it in Spanish, they favored putting y'all in more in the Spanish scene.
Well, no. We were all over the English scenes too. But the bonus was where English rap wasn't in the Latin market. They were
Double
put
barrel. Double
right,
barrel.
exactly. And
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is.
I had enough Spanish in there to get us in the Spanish market, but then I had a good bit of English that would keep us in the English market. Because if I would have done too much Spanish back then, being the first one, who knows? It would have probably done worse because,
No, you broke the door. You
you
are
know,
the door breaker. You bust the door open, and you are definitely, you definitely one of our founding fathers,
Yep,
man. When it
that's a
comes to
fact.
my Spanish side and
Yeah.
all of that, man. As far as that, and I do that. Like me, naturally, like I use my Spanish, of course, man. That's a double barrel, like I say.
yeah,
I could do this in Spanish. I could do this in English.
Yeah.
So it's something that in my soul, I know I could do. But if it wasn't for guys like you, man, the market wouldn't be open. So I
Yeah.
thank you. I personally
Yeah,
thank you
man.
for
Both of
that.
them. Yeah, for sure.
I personally
And
thank you.
and then, but then one day, down the road in '81, towards the ending of '81. We were on WBLS with Frankie Crocker. I don't know if you ever heard of Frankie
Wow.
Crocker.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not-
Oh yeah.
Okay, that was one of the biggest. That was like the number one radio station in New York. It was R&B,
Heard about it.
and so we're
That's
doing an
pretty.
interview, and he's asking us, "Yo,
Shout out to Bob Lee from BLS.
how is it this summer hearing your record being played out of everywhere, all over the beaches, out of cars, everywhere you go?" Well, instead of answering the question, now remember, back then Jimmy was the youngest, so now Jimmy's 16. And instead of answering that question, he starts talking about the monies that Sugar Hill owes us and we haven't
Oh
gotten.
man.
So he
It went
starts
bad.
spilling the beans there. And so, if your record company knows you have an interview, they're going to be listening. So they heard everything he said. So when we get back to Sugar Hill, they sit us down and they start yelling at us, talking about we need to stay out of the politics of the business, that they're not, that we're going to get shelved. They're not going to release us from our contract. You're not going to record anymore. Your career is going to fizzle and die. And so that was it. We weren't able to record anymore, but we were still able to do shows because the record was still being played on the radio. So we were still touring and doing shows until that record fizzled out. And that was the end. And I said, look, I told the guys, I'm not going to stick around here and become homeless again. I'm going to move to South Carolina with my family. Then I moved to South Carolina with my family. And then, that's where I changed my life and I became a Christian. And then I started writing Christian rap. But then nobody wanted to record it because there was really no such thing as Christian rap back then. It was 1983,
Don't tell me you're another. Oh my God.
No, but listen, I don't claim that. I don't claim being the first Christian rapper because
You were
no,
right now.
listen. I don't like claiming things that I don't have evidence for. I
Don't
could
worry,
claim,
we
I
claim it
could
for you.
claim
We
the
claiming
Spanish,
it for you.
but so
Let me
then,
claim it for you, man. Let me do the Melo-Man Ace right now for you, because that's how the love is. Because I know you're too humble to even do it, and I'm like that in many ways. But if you're telling me that in 1983 you went into the church, thing, and you got into the music and you started doing Christian as far as hip hop.
yeah, it was more like, it wasn't like Christian record style rapping. It was more like Christian freestyle, rapping. It was just like,
It was rap though.
yeah,
And
but
in Spanish.
You wasn't hearing anybody do that at that time?
no, man, there was no such thing that I'm aware of. That I'm aware of.
1983?
It was. I think it was more in the '90s where Christian rap,
yeah?
because
I don't know. I
there
was
wasn't
never
a
into
market. There
rap,
wasn't a
so.
bro. A
Wow.
lot of churches. There was churches that wouldn't even let me do it. There was only. There was a look. There was only
They
one
got a
church.
rap at that time.
One church. The pastor let me do it because we got to become friends, and he knew my heart. He knew, that I was a humble person, that I really meant what the walk that I was walking was real. It wasn't fake. So he allowed me to do it. So it attracted the young kids and stuff. And then, you know how some preachers preach and they take singers with them to different places so they could kind of help them open
that
up.
too.
So I did that with that preacher, and he would bring me up and I would rap in the churches, right? But
You got
check this
you got
out,
to
man.
improve
Look.
You got footage
You
or
got
anything? Audio?
it improved,
So
maybe.
then,
'Cause you got a life
listen,
story here. We didn't got
man. But check this out. But
you got
a
a
lot
movie
of
in here.
times, like I went to this one church and he did that. And then the pastor of the church, this is what he told me afterwards. He says, listen, when I heard that you were going to come up here to rap, I didn't think that was right. But then he told me, but then after I heard you, he goes, you changed my mind because he was used to hearing the rappers on the radio and
Yeah.
nobody could envision like what would rap be as a Christian, as far as lyrics.
Right.
Nice.
And so,
No hay ningún como rapero en español que ha cantado como, o sea, que ha llegado en ese nivel
Christian rap.
de no, and just hip hop and Christian rap,
Oh
whatever.
man, no man,
Like
there's tons of
any,
rappers in Spanish, bro.
but I know that. But did they come to you like a Melo-Man Ace and gave you the
Oh,
flowers?
bro, look, man, rappers from different countries, man. I've from Santo Domingo. There's a few Cuban guys. I know their names, but they DM you, man, and thank you,
Yeah, but
man, and
I'm talking
offer,
about back then, though. I'm
from
talking about
Colombia.
back then.
What?
Back then, like without the DMs and nothing, like
Oh, you
they
talking
just
about back
you
then in New York?
like somebody that heard you, like what I'm saying, seeing you perform live, and they came back to you years later, like they gave you them flowers, like what I'm saying, like, and they went on to do something big in their life, or just show that gratitude of what
Oh
you
man,
did for them.
look, Thurston,
Okay.
man, there's like off the top of my head, you ever been a contestant and they go, hey, what's the answer to this question? And you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
it, but at the moment you can't think. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of them that did, but at the moment, like I'm blank, man. But there's a lot of
Um,
people. But Thurston, I got to say, he's one of them, man. So check it out. Look, it was, when I started reading the Bible, so then it was like, as I read the Bible, I began to realize why the Father sent his Son upon this earth to die. The conviction of my heart, it brought a tear to my eye. See, Christ endured such cruelty for a sinner like me. He paid the price when he died for me on Calvary's tree. I once was blind, but now my eyes clearly see the sacrifice Christ became for you and me. You see, Jesus loves me. This I know. For the word of God, it tells me so. That all of us to him belong is true. We're weak, but he is strong. The Lord will stand by you like no other man. I see two sets of footprints within the sand. When times look rough, one is all I see. These were the days the Lord carried me. He has proven his love to me time and again. Pull me from the fire, result of my sin. Compare where I am now to where I might have been. I get on my knees just to praise him again and again. I thank him for loving me. It's undeserved. Meanwhile, the enemy tells me that my life is a blur, but I'm the one that owed the debt and he paid the price. So Jesus Christ, I owe you my life.
life.
Wow.
Amen, man. Amen.
Hey.
Amen. Amen. I tried to give you the beatbox there, but I was a little off. But no matter, God's got us with the rhythm. But
So, Mr. Shake, real
yes,
quick.
man, Mr.
So,
Schick,
so
man.
what is the offers that are that come to you now? Like you had said earlier, something about
Record,
like
people,
pictures.
I get a lot of groups from different Latin countries all over Latin America that ask me if I would record with them. And I'm like, yo, man, they're in their 30s. I'm like 67. And it's like, to find a common ground about something that we both can rap about, it's a little tougher because sometimes, I got to watch what I say because yo soy abuelo ahora. You know what I'm saying? So I can't, it's a different, like when you're carefree and young and you don't give a crap, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I would do it if it made sense for them and for me because I wouldn't want to take them out of their lane just so,
Yeah.
and I don't want them to take me out of mine. And, because I don't want to do it just to do it. And they're like, man, I just want to do a song. Most of them, it's like, we just want to do it with the first guy that did it,
Right.
so we
Right.
can have it, even if nothing happens.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, I see you're content with life. That's what I feel.
Right.
I'm
Right.
happy
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
That you're content with life. You've been through a journey. I think as far as like professional, like just looking in and listening to this for the first time, really. I'm naive
what,
to a lot of things. I get caught up in life
well,
also, and
Yeah, man.
But as far as you, I think definitely a motion picture
Yo,
is
but
deserved.
look,
Yeah, you
man.
need a
Let me tell
series. Yeah,
you. Look,
Yeah,
docu-series.
definitely do.
look. I'm thankful for what God did in my life. You know, He
I see
allowed me
that.
to see rock bottom, but He brought me out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I lived a normal life in the Bronx, a little kid in the ghetto. I went from normal life with a family to homeless to being somebody's roadie to being on stage, traveling, meeting people that you were listening to on the radio as a kid. Now they're your peers. And, I had who does that? Who does that out of the Bronx?
Mr.
Facts.
Schick, man.
Not a lot of people. So I got to thank
Danny
God.
Raps
No,
does
but
that.
listen, man, not only that, but you talk about,
Daniel Rivera does that.
check it out. I was a heroin and cocaine addict, bro. Okay. And after I joined the church and I gave my heart to God, bro, I was going to church and then I would leave the church, go get high, right? And then I would cry, bro. I would cry because I loved God because what he did in my life, and, but then my body was craving these things, you know, the heroin and cocaine. And so I would go to church, come out, do my drugs and cry, bro. That was like the routine. And I'm like, man, no matter how much I pray, I can't get rid of this.
Right.
God, man, you know my heart. I love you, man, but this is too much. Then one day I'm reading a scripture, right? And I'm paraphrasing in my own words. It's
Right.
like this man has a son that has some demons, and he asked the disciples, "Yo, can you pray for my son to get this out of him?" And they prayed, and nothing happened. Right? So that dude is disappointed. But then he goes to Jesus, "Yo, Jesus, man, your boys they prayed, and nothing happened, man. What's up with that?" And Jesus goes, "Because some of these demons can only come out with fasting and prayer." Right? And a light bulb went in my head. I said, you know what? I've been praying. This has got to be it. If it worked for that man, it's going to work for me. I'm going to fast and pray for 24 hours. I locked myself in a room, bro, right, with a Bible and a little radio with the Christian music station on. And I prayed and stayed in that room reading the word for 24 hours. When I came out of that room, it's been like, I don't know, 40, no, more than 40. It was over 40 years, 42, 43, 44 years that I haven't touched any drugs. Bro,
Wow.
and not only that, look, God spared me from even going through convulsions. I mean, not convulsions, through oh shoot. What do you call it when you're going through
Withdrawal.
withdrawal? Yeah, I didn't even go through withdrawals, bro.
Yeah,
God
God was
God
oh,
saved me
yeah,
from the
God was
withdrawals, bro. So how can I turn back on God after
can't
all he's done for me, man? You know what
can't
I'm saying?
Yeah.
can't
Facts.
you can't, man. And that's the reason why your spirit is glowing. You're able to tell your story. You had amazing, I
Bro,
mean,
and then look, on
you had
top of
an
that,
amazing journey.
He has more. More.
most drug addicts, even after they stop taking drugs after all the years they have, bro, se ven
Mm-hmm.
gaseado, man. You know what I'm
Seven
saying?
decades.
I'm
Exactly.
67 years old, and when I tell people I was a heroin and cocaine addict, they can't believe it because they're
You look
younger than
blessed.
me and they look older than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look blessed, man. You look like I said. I was telling him. He sent me an interview you did before this, and I was like, yo, he looks good for his age, and
Yeah.
he's you know what I'm saying, he's the way he talks and everything, and I was just like, I was amazed by just the your energy, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know, I know God's people, so I know you got the spirit with you, and I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad to hear that, that, I'm glad to hear this story, man. I'm really glad to hear the
Do
story. I never heard this
Mr.
story,
Schick, do you have
so
time to
thank you.
elaborate on your testimony?
What part? Tell me.
So for me, it's like, man, one that most could never ever be able to get through if it
Okay.
wasn't for the knowledge
Well,
of God.
what I'm gonna do is this. I will send you the video,
Yes.
and then you can send it to Cuban.
Okay.
We could attach it to this.
Yeah. Is it
Yeah,
all right if I
Definitely.
attach
yeah.
it to this?
Oh man, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
That's
will
Gotcha.
definitely
perfect.
tap
Yeah.
into.
So that everyone that's
That
viewing this
video
interview
is
can see it as well.
Hell yeah, this is special.
it's
This is
about
special.
9 minutes long. But check this out, bro. Without giving away too much. Well, I'll tell you this much, Cuban, because you know it. But
I already know. Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah.
I in 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 2002, I lost my wife, my 8-year-old daughter, my 11-year-old son in a car accident. Someone crashed head on to them, and they all died. It left me with one son. Okay, and so because I forgave the kid that crashed into them, uh, you know, it just it just everybody wanted to know how I could forgive. So it was like the Today Show wanted me, the John Wall Show, all these shows and churches and everywhere wanted me to tell my story of how I could forgive. So that's all the news footage that I'm gonna send. It's only like 9 minutes long, but check it out if you get a chance.
Definitely
Yeah.
will.
And
Definitely will.
but the thing about it is, I lost my wife, right? But God is so good. You know, you got people roaming this earth looking for love and never find it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Right? God blessed me because I found it one time, and then 4 years later, He allowed me to find love again. You
No, I
know?
understand. I understand why you didn't want to get into that part of the woman thing and all of that. And I respect it. I was going to ask you that. I know you had a special love. I didn't know if you lost it or anything, but it's certain people in this world that once, and I believe in that type of love. So I commend you, and I see it, and I feel the pain. I feel it, and I see it, and I know that God touched you.
Oh,
That's I know that definitely your God
no,
touched you.
He has, man, because most
Yeah,
people would
you don't get
crumble.
over that.
Most people
Anything
losing their,
over, you don't get over that,
most
brother.
people losing their children would crumble. But
Of
God,
course.
when I was at my weakest, He was my strength, man. He's for real. You know, the words that are in the Bible, everything I ever learned about God as a child prepared me for that moment, man, and gave me the
That's what
strength to go through that,
That's
you
what
know.
life does. It gives you the time to connect with that special bond, man,
Yeah.
with that
Do
God.
But
do
I'll
you
send,
find yourself?
go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Send us the links for sure so that Cuban can watch it. 'Cause
Yeah.
Definitely.
Woof,
No, we're gonna add that.
man.
We did this.
Yeah, and
Woo!
add it.
Yes. Awesome.
This is the
Awesome.
Hey,
champion right
and
here.
listen,
Yeah.
don't,
The chick is the champion, baby.
and
Regardless.
don't cut out the part about finding love once and then finding it again. You know, add that
I'll
in too,
put the whole thing.
because
I'll put the whole thing so it's authentic.
I would put that probably in the beginning, middle,
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
While
We
we
could do
doing this
that.
interview, we could base that whole theme on God right there.
Yeah,
For
that's
real.
fire.
That's
Do
real
you
though.
do you find yourself at least being able to be booked for like at least the shows or something
well, I'll
that are
put it to you this way. You know, I haven't done it. I keep turning them down. I keep turning down the offers uh, because it's like most of the stuff I did was with the group. So whenever we wrote like for the group setting. So it's
Hmm.
like I never really kind of like back then since rap was in its infancy. You know, I was
right?
able to freestyle my own stuff with or without the group. But now everything is so formatted, so advanced and everything, you know, I can't just do that. So I really don't have like solo stuff that I could do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure they would book you just to do your verse on
No,
the
man.
disco
Yeah,
drink
well,
done.
you know, you're talking about I got the Spanish verse in the front, a little bit in the back,
Yeah,
and then I got some stuff in the middle. But back then, a lot of the rappers, it ain't like today where people got a verse, this guy got some. You know, back then, one
yeah.
verse could be split up between the whole group. You know, like
Hmm.
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Speaking of the whole group, are who's still around that you still connect with?
Jimmy, the youngest guy, he died. From what I hear, he died of AIDS years ago. And
I'm blessed.
which is sad because I miss him, man. He was like, we had to
St.
treat
Croix.
him like we were his dad on the road
St. Croix,
because,
right? St. Croix.
yeah,
St. Croix,
St.
yeah.
Croix. And,
Yeah.
cause see, the thing was, it ended up to where even Jimmy was staying in the studio because after we got signed and we recorded, then his mom died sometime. So you got a 16-year-old kid homeless without a mother. So it was me and him in the studio staying.
It was a
Then all
family.
of a sudden, I don't know what happened with the DJ, but he ended up living in the studio. Then after a while, I don't know what happened, but the whole group was living in the studio. So we were
That's
with each other 24 hours a day.
That's the beauty, man. That's some people don't understand that. Like, as far as like artists, they think it's just talent and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, the
Bond,
thing
the
about it,
camaraderie.
Like we know I come from like the Full Eclipse crew. Like,
Yeah.
it was Big Pun. It was Triple Sage, myself, and Sick One, and
Yeah.
and it's just to like when we met Joe, it was just maybe, oh, who's the best one? Who can make money for him at that time?
Right.
And to us, it was like we try to split us up. It was more like a heartbreak.
Yeah.
To the point of, what I'm saying, us not being there. Just that thought of us not working with each other to
Yeah, the
create
chemistry,
that stuff.
all that stuff.
But
yeah.
Pun didn't let that go nowhere. We
Right,
stood,
right.
We stood together. It's just as far as like contracts and all that could separate things, but the real teamwork, comes from just
That's
the,
right.
the friendship and the love.
Yeah.
And some people in some groups or some just artists are meant to be in groups. You know what I'm saying? And that's a special connection when you have that type of those type of people around you,
Wow.
and you appreciate them. And
well, being in a group too, it's different than being solo because, things happen in shows and sometimes you got someone that can fall because,
yeah,
it didn't happen a lot, but every now and then you might forget a lyric and the guy next to you throws that first word and it comes back
and
and you know what I mean?
yeah,
And so things
that's what I'm
happen.
saying. Some people are meant to do that. Like some people will come in as maybe solo artists that don't know how to be in groups and have that family orientated like
Right,
chemistry
right.
for music. But like me, like myself, I came through a group.
Yeah.
So it was always about the crutch, being each other's crutches.
Yeah.
And getting on that stage and
And
creating
you
that
feed off
magic.
the energy too.
Creating that
Oh
magic in the
yeah.
booth.
Yeah.
Like doing the song.
Yeah.
We help
No,
each other
and
out.
look,
That's what we're from.
back then, like now, everybody goes in the booth separate. Back then, you were a group, you were there together, man. They stuck you
That
together.
that's the
So
part right.
that was great because you feed off each other and you can make it sound better because you get this guy will motivate you to do better. This guy, man, it
Yeah.
was a lot of fun, man.
Man, that's what's
You
up,
have
man.
definitely a story that needs to be heard, that needs to be seen.
Yes, yes,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying? I can see, man. I can see
Man.
like one of those documentaries where they go back in time. They have an actor playing him.
Yeah.
With just stories. He has to, some movie shit for real, man.
Because I know it's getting late, I want to wrap this up eventually. But Mr. Schick, are you aware? What's your friend's name that does he finds out if there's any money missing from some of these artists?
Royalties, you mean? Gungu Roach.
We should connect him with Mr. Schick because
Wait,
the
who?
Mean Machine.
Oh no, he's a guy that's he does the business
He's-
side. And
he's
he
good
does
at-
the royalty search.
Yeah, he's
Is
look
it-
good at locating money.
Whatever company.
What's
owes
his
you money,
name?
something
For
like that. His name is Gungu Roach.
Cause I saw somebody online talking about he got Pun's wife.
That's the guy.
That's the
Yep,
dude.
yep.
Yeah, I seen him.
Yeah, Fat Joe. Fat Joe
Yeah,
stole
but
the money.
the thing about it is, we only had that one record. So
Doesn't matter. There can still be money out
Well,
there to be collected.
He's not only that he could go collect it. So he could put you in, he could put you in situations where, he got the ear inside the industry where you might fit in and probably get you, certain
Exactly.
situations where you, get profitable. Even though he didn't do shit for me yet, but,
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh for my brother Bud. But but he's definitely, a force
Yeah.
to be reckoned with when it comes to, doing things like that. And he's
yeah, I mean it's no big deal. You know what? I'm not. Put it to you this way, bro. If I would have maintained myself in the rap industry, I would have been just like a lot of these other guys.
You'd have been.
I
lost,
would have
man.
been. I would have been a poor. I would have
Yeah.
been a poor famous guy. Because a lot of these guys, they're poor. They're famous, but they're poor. They're penniless, man. And so getting away from that, bro, I'm living better now than I did when I was a rapper,
Hey.
and I own my own house. I own my own cars,
Yeah.
and I don't owe on my house. My house
You
is
look
paid.
like you got that confidence with you. You
And,
got that.
and so,
You're ready to tell your story for real to the world. I think you are.
Netflix.
I think you're ready to tell the
Cut a
story to
check.
the world. That's what I'm saying. I see this. Of course, we socializing as MCs, as just people, fans, and historians. through hip hop. But as far as you, man, you have a beautiful journey with God in your life. You know what I'm saying? With that story alone and what you've been through and the years of hip hop, the conception, the part of the graffiti, just the elements of hip hop that you was part of, and you being Latino and you incorporating the language inside of hip hop, being the first to do that, you are a special individual. And I don't know if you know that. I think you do. But I'm saying, as far as the way I see you, and I just met you today, as far as like we seeing each other and you're telling me your story, that's special to me, man, in a whole different, blockbuster type shit to me. You know what I'm saying? Something that's needed to unite, not to separate, to unite.
That's what it's all about, man.
As your story is about unity. And I love that because that's what I'm on. That's what I think hip hop is based upon, unity. Because you was inside there, you seen the color barriers, you seen the gang barriers, you seen the boroughs, different people, and you united through hip hop. And you was part of that from the beginning. I love that. That's why I pictured, hip hop, to be like. And you definitely that. So man, your story is definitely
Salute,
powerful.
man.
I respect you. Respect you very much, Mr. Schick.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time.
man. Thank you.
Mr. Danny Raps, Mr. Daniel Rivera. And I also shared a special brother that touched the hip hop in a very special way and made way for me. You know what I'm saying? His name was Christopher Rios.
Yeah.
Big part.
Yeah,
So,
man.
Puerto Rican culture, the Cuban culture, man. Just like you and Melo-Man Ace, man. I respect that bond. I love it. And I know that's part of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Us, as far as being Latinos in the black culture, man, we was one always, man. And that's I think hip hop was definitely taken and expressed to the whole world, man. And that's why hip hop is so big because you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Hey, but I'll tell you this, man. Really, like it. I think it was more fun before records. It was
Of course,
because it
that's
was
the
so.
best time.
It
It was the
was.
best.
Yeah,
Shit,
before
come
the
on.
contracts.
That was it, man. When we was just on the street rapping, beating on a building, on the doorway, and we just spitting rhymes out of our hearts and just having fun. That's the best time, man. With no money involved, just us in the hood.
Yeah.
Poor too.
Yeah.
Poor. In dinero.
Yep.
That's the best time, man.
Mr. Schick, do you have any questions for Cuban Link? You know what I'm saying? Maybe based for his come up or pun. Any questions about pun that you may have ever had?
How did you feel about us as far as like you seeing the generations move on? Like as far as like you seen, like Big Pun maybe come up.
No,
Like,
when I
even
went,
all over the world.
as I started seeing more and more Latinos blow up, man, I was happy, man, when I saw you guys.
Because he's from
And
the Bronx. So I know Melo-Man is Melo-Man to you and it'll always be your
yeah,
brother. I
but
respect
when
that.
I
But he's from the west side,
yeah, but
right? But we
what
from the Bronx. Like
right.
we
So when I
like,
saw you guys,
yeah.
and then I'm like, yo, Terror Squad. The first time I saw that, I was like, this is awesome, man. But then as I started later, like I kind of got a little sad because it's like instead of
It's sad.
staying together, man,
But you seen it.
what broke these people up? And so
Right.
I never, since I'm on the outside, I never figured out what broke. So I thought, is it money? What is it?
So
Ego
what your
or
gut showed
whatever?
you?
Because it
What
was
your gut
sad. I
told
was,
you?
because tú tienes los latinos, and it's like, man, I was rooting for Terror Squad to make it because of all you guys. And then when it just, to me, it just,
Latinos stick together. That's our reputation for Latinos. Like
yeah.
that's what they
So
always
I couldn't figure
always
out
like
what
something
happened,
wrong.
man.
Well, you know what happened. One little beluga got crazy and he got greedy and ya tú sabes.
Yeah.
Ya tú sabes. Es uno siempre que descojona the whole tree. So, the greed, and I could say this all day, but I think in your gut, you know what happened. You see what happens. And you feel it. People don't want to voice it like I do. And I don't even like doing it to the point where I feel like, blaming somebody else. But the truth is the truth, I can't lie about it. I could only say the truth, and the receipts after time and to now. That's what you see. You see that we telling you about this guy named Congo Roach that helped Pun get
Yeah,
his.
yeah, and I saw that.
You see the foul
I
play.
saw it like about 3 or 4 days ago. I saw a video with
Right.
him on talking
Yeah,
about it.
and that's 25 years later. Imagínate. So tú sabes que yo no me puedo callar, yo soy cubano, yo tengo que decir la verdad.
Yeah.
Tengo que decir la verdad por mí y por mi hermano y la familia de él. And that's the bond that started. Me and my brother Chris. You know what I'm saying? And we started that as innocent kids, not even, taking it as a hobby and together. Un Cubano that was 1,000 miles away when he was growing up in New York. And I came here in 1980 without knowing English, and I became a rapper on my own, loving the hip hop culture, getting into just getting that feeling from the Bronx. And him, being out here, born out here in the Bronx, and just, doing what he does. And then we connect, and then something special happened. Of course, you got to, bring in the third factor, which is, Fat Joe, which he already was doing his little movement too. But we had love for each other. We had love for him. And it was a certain type of special love with me and Pun,
Yeah.
And we brought that energy when we got connected with Joe. And we thought we could give him that energy. And what he did is took advantage, what I'm saying? Sorry to say, and that's all, man. But
Yeah, I hate it for you guys, man.
Yeah, me too, for real.
Well, we still here, man. We still here, man.
Yeah.
Listen, my brother passed away, but he definitely left his imprint out here. He repped for the culture. He left his mark out here. Short time, he was a baby. He's 28 years old, man.
Yeah.
Paul was 28 years old when he passed away.
Wow.
Imagínate. And he was the first Boricua really to go triple platinum and represent, for the real New Yorkers and put hip hop again. Besides you, when you stepped in, he stepped and put that flag up there and represented proudly. And, and made a big thing about it, And he brought the cultures back again together. He gave, Latinos, Puerto Ricans especially, that upper hand again. That we could grip the mic and we could hang with the best black folk ever. And that was, something to feel proud of. And that was the main thing, man. And bringing us both, black and brown, together. That was the main thing. That's what Pun stood for. That's what we stood for. I stood for. But there's one guy that didn't really stood for that. You know what I'm saying? That we could all tell that at the end of the day, who's the only one left that's up there talking instead of a crew. When we came in, it was a whole family and people happy. We was all happy. But now at the end of the day, it's only one guy over there that acts like he's the one who invented everything. So I don't want to make it a.
Yeah, it's all good though. You already know.
You're a God believer. You know what God tells you.
Yeah.
And I know God's been by my side, and what I'm saying, through all of this that made me still be here to this day. So I go with that, and my story's yet to be told too, in full. And I feel like your stories definitely need to be told.
Yeah, man.
So we got stories to be told about.
We salute you, brother. Hey, Mr. Schick. Hopefully we can get you into a low life event or something. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Have a good time as a human being, man. You're a cool guy.
Let us know when you're going to be in Florida. So
we
can meet up.
Yeah, every now and then I work in Florida. Last time I was working, I hit up Earl and Thurston, and we were going to meet up. But then there was like a tornado or something, and we couldn't.
Yeah, hurricane.
Yeah.
That's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I think at that time we were in communication.
Si yo voy a verte, te voy a ver solo con este.
Yeah.
Yo no quiero ver a nadie. Vamos a ir a hacer lo que hacemos nosotros. That's the thing on everybody, pero que I like to have our energy together.
Hey, so you're in Florida too, Cuban?
I go back and forth. So I'm in the Bronx.
Okay.
You in the BX?
No, I'm in South Carolina.
You're in the middle of little Italy.
Yeah. Hey, but check it out.
But I'll pass through. We'll pass through, man. Make it a day.
But my phone, since I had to unplug it and use the headphone, it's going to die soon. But pero yo le mando el tape ese, ¿ok? Te lo voy a mandar cuando enganchamos el teléfono. Te lo mando. All right?
I got
you. And then pass it to Cuban, man.
Man, let's give this icon, this pioneer, and he's not being recognized the way I want him to be recognized.
And
from now on, believe me, man, this dude right here, remember him, Mr. Schick, and he's still out here, Mr. Schick. He's still out here.
That's right.
He's still doing his thing, kicking, and he was the first one that kicked it Latino style.
We love you, man.
Hey,
we'll talk to you soon.
Likewise, man. But pass him my telephone number too.
I got you.
I'm sending right. I'm
He's
my
brother,
up.
man. He's my bro. So
all right. Know. Love you, brother. We'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Salute, and I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you that
two
video.
Kids off at Fork Shoals Elementary this morning, when investigators say a 22-year-old Greenwood man driving a Ford Bronco tried to pass a slower vehicle and hit them head on. Police say Rivera, her 11-year-old son David, and 8-year-old daughter Dominique died at the scene. 22-year-old Richard Barker was airlifted to Greenville Memorial Hospital.
For the families, it's just terrible, especially when, I mean, it's a whole family just wiped out like that.
Jerry Howell has lost loved ones in similar circumstances.
I mean, it's terrible because I've experienced it.
And knows it's hardest on those left behind.
I hate it for the husband. Obviously, he's going to go through some stuff that's, I mean, I bet it probably hadn't even hit him yet, and it's just going to be terrible.
And he says, having gone through a similar experience, there's no way to make sense of something this tragic, that it's just something that'll take time to heal.
Just because that happened doesn't mean he's a mean, bad person.
It definitely makes you appreciate what you have and makes you realize tomorrow is just not, it's not promised. And I think the community is going to have to pull together for this family and just show their support.
This is McKelvey Road in southern Greenville County shortly after 7:30 this morning. Troopers say 41-year-old Kathy Renee Rivera of Fountain Inn was taking her children to Fork Shoals Elementary. The impact of her car with that SUV killed her, along with her 8-year-old daughter Dominique and 11-year-old son David.
It was a very tragic circumstance, obviously. Any loss of life is extremely tragic. And you know, the fact remains that it could have been prevented by a driver obeying the law in that circumstance.
Barker is being held on a $60,000 bond tonight. He could get 30 years in prison if convicted of all 3 charges.
Daniel Rivera's has never been stronger.
I'm doing okay, because right now at my weakest moment, God is my strength.
Instead of dwelling on how his wife and 2 of their children died, he chooses to remember the way they lived. His wife, Kathy.
She was a Sunday school teacher. She lived the life. She walked the walk.
His son David, who only wanted to be taller.
I tell him, you know, David in the Bible beat the giant Goliath with just a few stones. I said, so height, stature doesn't mean anything. You can be small and still accomplish many things.
His only daughter, Dominique.
And I tell her, Dominique, you know what? You're my favorite girl in the whole wide world. And she tell me, you're my favorite Bobby in the whole wide world.
And the Rivieras are more than just those 5. Kathy and her dad were part of the Greenville Memorial Hospital family for more than 20 years. Her father knows the coroners well, so for the coroners, working on this case was very personal. And they were stunned by Daniel's concern for the man accused.
I want him to know that I forgive him. I do not want him to carry this for the rest of his life. I'm going to be okay. I want him to be okay. And I'll be praying for him and his family.
In fact, the coroner on this case told us almost as soon as Daniel learned he'd lost so much, he made the coroner promise to get a message of forgiveness to Richard Barker. The coroner says that never happens. Of course, the family is trying to plan 3 funerals and still care for Daniel's 9th grade son.
It's just so amazing in so many ways, Kimberly. How about the children? They went to a local elementary school. What's being done there?
At Fork Shoals Elementary School is where the 2 kids went, and actually they had support there today, and they will have it again on Monday for anyone who needs help.
Thanks, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
Tough story. Thanks.
The death of a friend, Kathy Rivera, who worked there 20 years.
And if you know by now, a car wreck killed her and 2 of her children near Fountain Inn 2 weeks ago today. The service at the hospital this morning was filled with broken hearts, as well as the words of a man who may truly surprise you.
I am weak. This tribute is given on this day in memory of our dear Kathy, Dominique, and David. Lead me on.
Kathy Rivera worked half her life at Greenville Memorial Hospital. Life here overflowed with friends.
It reminds us that there's more to life than this life that you've given us here on earth.
She was the 41-year-old mother of 11-year-old David and 8-year-old Dominique, all killed in an instant on a country road as she drove the children to school.
So then they can grow up.
Today, her husband opened his broken heart and talked of someone else. The Highway Patrol believes the wreck happened because Brandon Barker, 22 years old, tried to pass along a double yellow line. His SUV and Kathy Rivera's car hit head-on.
Plenty of people have these little stickers and things that say, what would Jesus do? Well,
What would Jesus do in a moment like this? Would he forgive or would he retaliate? He would forgive.
Daniel Rivera got busy forgiving. That young man accused of causing the crash that wrecked this family got a phone call from the grieving husband and father of those 2 children.
And I knew I had to talk to him. I wanted to ease his mind, let him know that everything was going to be okay.
He doesn't want the impact of this to ruin Brandon Barker's life.
You know, 3 lives were already destroyed. Why destroy another? Everybody deserves a second chance.
Life for this man now consists of the son who wasn't in the car, 14-year-old Daniel, and a faith he points to as the reason he can forgive, the reason he is consoling people who try to console him.
Instead of saying, why God? Why did you take 3? I thanked God because he left me 1. I'm not alone. And even if he would have took my other son, he said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. That tells me that I won't be walking alone.
The authorities charge Brandon Barker with reckless homicide because of what happened here. A court will decide the outcome of that.
When my life, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
The husband and father has made a decision rising far above the law.
I'm just glad that God gave me the strength.
Oh, hold my hand lest I fall.
Brandon Barker is free on bond tonight. No court date has yet been set. And tonight, a spokeswoman for the Barker family tells News 4, we express our deepest gratitude for the love and compassion Mr. Rivera expressed to Brandon and our family. We continue to pray each day for him and his family. Good evening. Welcome. I'm Michael Cogdo.
And I'm Carol Goldsmith. In a Greenville courtroom today, the final legal chapter in a story of 3 lost lives.
This is also the story of the power of forgiveness, linking 2 families after one terrible day.
2 years have gone by. I've gotten to know him, his mother, and his dad. We've become pretty close. It's sort of like a therapy for me.
In court today, the husband and father of that lost family asked the judge not to send the SUV driver, Brandon Barker, to prison, even after the young Eagle Scout had pleaded guilty to reckless homicide.
If he's able to go places and talk to young kids and maybe save a life or 2 in the future, then I feel my family didn't die in vain. But if it's just locked up to punish him, I'm not gaining anything from that.
God called you home to walk in his glorious kingdom.
Daniel Rivera is the same man who at his wife's memorial service 2 years ago spoke a clear language of forgiveness.
Just because that happened doesn't mean he's a mean, bad person.
After that service, he spoke with faith and gratitude that his oldest son, Daniel, wasn't in the car.
Instead of saying, why God? Why did you take 3? I thanked God because he left me 1. I'm not alone. And even if he would have took my other son, he said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. That tells me that I won't be walking alone.
And in court today, Daniel Rivera's faith and forgiveness came up again on the voice of the forgiven.
I would love and forgiveness that you showed me. These past 2 years. I just want to say thank you, and I'm sorry for all the pain that I've also caused you.
The judge then handed Brandon Barker 3 10-year sentences, suspended them, gave him 18 months house arrest and community service. And in the end, Daniel Rivera gave Brandon Barker what he has had all along. Brandon Barker today received 30 days of community service. Daniel Rivera plans to continue his friendship with the entire Barker family.
I want a heart that forgives, a heart full of love, one with compassion just like yours above, one that overcomes evil with goodness and love, like it never happen, never holding a grudge. Want a heart that forgives, that lives and lets live, one that keeps loving over and over again, one that men can't offend, 'cause your word is deep within, one that loves without price, like you, Lord Jesus Christ. Want a heart that loves everybody, even my enemies. Want to love like you, be like you, just like you did.
Man.
We had him, man. Mr. Schick, the legendary.
Schick, man. That was special, man.
That was outstanding.
Off the books. Yeah,
See,
we
man?
off the books this year. We off the hook.
Yeah.
This episode, man. This is
right.
mind blowing, man. Checking out his journey. It's not his story. He got a journey.
Yeah.
Because he's still, doing what he does, and he, he's on God's terms right now. So it's respectable. And listen, man. I didn't know about this brother, this pioneer, really, and it's due to me. We get caught up. I get caught up in just regular life, and just like everybody else, maybe like the younger generation right now in hip hop, that they don't think back into finding the roots and really the source of why they are allowed,
right?
Or
how they even what came first? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the chicken or the
egg when it comes to hip hop.
And the cock came first. He's a rooster.
But now you're right.
But
you're right. A lot of
but it's beautiful. Yeah, like I'm a historian. I mean, like I'm a student of hip hop. So when I hear truth like this, especially testimonies like this, I get inspired, man, and he's definitely a story that needs to be part of hip hop, the culture, the museum, all the way back, man. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, especially, for Latinos and also for black culture. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure that there's people that remember, who Mr. Schick was as far as
we got to try to get
the archives.
The remaining members of the Meme Machine, including Mr. Schick, back.
Do you think that one day he'll be doing that? Let's get the remaining bones of the Terror Squad. Terror Squad, after we've long gone.
There's still
let's
people
find the fossils of the Fat Joey Behemoth Mammoth Beluga. They have to go to the ocean and go dig it.
It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right.
Yeah, man. But it's only right. It's only right, man. Yeah. I mean, as a metaphor, as far as like, just, really going back to that blast from the past and checking out, the footprints.
Let me
who
tell
left
you,
those footprints out here?
If Terror Squad said, "Yo, we can come together just to do interviews," you guys would be on tour again. With all the shows that would love to.
That
have,
would never happen.
I'm just saying, hypothetically, I'm just saying they would be like going crazy to get the interviews.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Stop.
But nonetheless,
This is where you need to stop.
What,
right?
man? You just made a point.
Chick yourself out the fucking picture.
You just made a point with the Meme Machine. I was just making the same point.
Yeah, but there's separate locations where the bones could be located. It don't have to be, the same place. I'm just saying, Mr. Schick had a crazy. Like, I love that teamwork that he spoke to. About that. The fact that he's awkward now doing shows by himself because it's like,
that's real camaraderie,
yeah. Because it's cool, just like me and Pun and Sace to the point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that unity, that what do you mean, Pun? You know what I'm saying? Sace came from another crew, so he had more like experience than us. Like me and Pun came innocently like together, and it's like that energy.
Yeah.
Well, me and him used to sit and write and just things in between, the details of that chemistry. Come on, man. It's nothing. It's nothing I won't give for that. To happen again, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and we had it almost to a point when we had the Terror Squad, even with Joe. But when I thought Joe was enjoying the teamwork part of it, he was just using it for the bad. Right. And he showed it through time. It's like if I could see he really enjoyed it, and he respected it, and he cherished it,
continued it as well,
and he cherished it. Where he appreciated it. He never appreciated it because no monetary gains was given to my brother, to us, for it. No props to the world was given to. No recognition was given to it. So he misused it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I know that that chemistry with him wasn't right.
And there's no I in
But
team.
with me, Sace, Pun, Sick One, even other ones, even Prospect, the Tony Baloney's, like we brought them through that, so they knew that teamwork was special.
Yeah.
They knew that when we sat down and write it, we created it was magic when we did it.
Yeah. Well, that's why they say no I in team, right?
There's no Beluga in team either.
Ain't that either.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So
no Beluga, no Willie Mammoth.
Yep. So Mr. Schick, Off the Books podcast.
Oh man, that was dope.
That was a classic one.
I hate the cameras. They got the papa face still. I lost like 30 pounds, and I look at the camera, and you got the bootleg phone.
Yeah.
You got me with the extra, potato face.
So much more to cut out. Thank you.
Off the book. Today I'm the potato face this time. Not like you. The last time I was
Look at
slapping on you.
Look at my shit. Look at my shit.
No, you look good. That's why you did it. You did it on purpose.
And I got a 10.
You bought the fucking Samsung 5000 plus, and then you gave me the bootleg fucking
the pink out of the
iPhone
cheeks.
4.
Look,
you gave me the iPhone 4.
Look, your shit puts the pink on your cheeks. My shit
doesn't
takes
matter.
the pink
The
off
hat,
mine.
look, because it's the wrong angle.
Yeah.
Like if I go like this, watch. There's a different angle.
Look, that's how.
Looks way better right there, right? Way better. That's the right thing.
So get
when
a
you
stand.
put the papa fucking angle on,
Get a stand.
it's back to Bonton chips.
Get a stand from Temu.
I look like Princess Leia with these headphones too. You disgusted with this shit. You set me up today. All right, we 1-on-1. I got you in the first episode.
He said Princess Leia.
Yeah, look at this shit. Princess
maybe
Leia.
Maybe I don't edit this one out.
You're lucky
maybe
to
I
know.
don't edit this one out.
Of course you're not. You're gonna do nothing with it. But I was in the star today. It was Mr. Schick's. Mr. Schick is the star today. You know what I'm saying? Salute to him.
Yeah, man.
And once again, we had a classic one.
Bro, and he's humble as they come.
He's old as fuck too. 60. We love him. But he's definitely old as dust.
He
looks
him?
really good. He looks really good for his age, man. He talks.
He was like, there was no producers in this time. They had to bring a whole band.
Definitely a legend, definitely a pioneer, definitely
what a time.
Mount Rushmore and Latino hip hop, and even hip hop itself, man. I'm so crazy that I didn't know his story, man.
Yeah.
So thank you for
hooking
hooking this up, man.
Yeah, man. Wait till I get Kurt. You really gonna trip out. You want all the
Captain Kurt? He's coming?
Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Captain Kirk,
Yeah, he's excited. He's excited to chop it up with Cuban.
That's another legend right there.
You know
Man.
what
I love meeting my predecessors as far as like people that paved the way for me to get to do an immigrant to come over here and do his thing. I mean, I couldn't be more appreciative.
Only in America.
Only in America.